ever see a woman from across the bar, Cole, or, I don't know, do-si-do dance floor, and you just say, nope, that's a bad idea. I need to keep myself as far away from that person as I possibly can.
Yeah, it happens,
Yeah.
Especially when they're a little bit on the side.
Well,
I didn't say the word. I didn't say the word.
I was thinking more in the crazy sense.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is a bad decision waiting to happen. Well, you can also look across the aisle, Cole, and see people that you want to keep as far away from college football as possible, because you can tell from a distance that SOB is going to ruin this sport, and I don't want to let that happen. Welcome into Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, you Tolos who are already in the stream. We appreciate you. If you're not, jump right in on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Just search for The Fan Upstate. The comment section is about to light up, as is the text line. The brand new Hub City Spartan Burgers text line at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. You can tell, Cole, from a mile away that you don't want to let Andrew Boardwine of Saturday Blitz anywhere near college football, and you don't want his dumbass ideas going in through the eyeballs of somebody who actually does have power in college football.
Should I know who Andrew Boardwine is?
No.
Okay, good.
No, it's okay that you don't.
Good.
But the problem is, Cole, guys like this weasel their stupid ideas into the heads of people who actually do have some kind of control. Mm-hmm. So I'm minding my business earlier today.
Yeah. That's
good. And, I was probably getting lunch down the street, sitting there at the table, and then, bink, pop up on my phone happens. And I read the title of the article, and it's clickbaity. I get it. But, sometimes clickbaity articles can be fun to read when you're reading them through the lens of, I know that this is clickbait while I'm clicking on it. But his article, Cole, was titled, Why Clemson and Florida State Should Cancel Their Annual In-State Rivalry Games. This guy is legitimately floating the idea that Clemson should not play South Carolina anymore and that Florida State should not play Florida anymore.
Now, is there a way, and I don't know if you know this or not, but when things like this pop up and articles like this come up and you read these articles, because I'm with you, it does sound very clickbaity. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a way, but I wish there was a way that they had to let us know, you as the reader, me as the reader know, if they were just putting this out there as clickbait or if they really meant this. You know how sometimes like you click opinion piece when you're writing an article, that way the people know it's an opinion, right? I want that same thing on I want that same tool nationwide for every outlet. You have to click a button at the very top, Diesel, that says, I don't really mean this. I'm just going to write about it. That's what I want.
So he makes the point for Florida State and Clemson canceling their rivalries in language that we have started to hear pop up far too often, Cole. The quasi-logical argument for why a team shouldn't play in a bowl game, why a starting running back should skip the postseason, why Duke and Clemson shouldn't have even bothered showing up for the ACC tournament. I mean, these arguments are rooted in some form of logic.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like when you're spitting out something that is harebrained and you know it's harebrained and you write it in a way that it's obvious that it's harebrained, anyone can read that and say, look at the point and laugh, this fool, this clown over here says this. But the problem is, Cole, when they package it in a way that people who make decisions, people who are detached from the game in the sense that they don't love the tradition and history of the game, but they think of it purely from a monetary standpoint, from rating standpoints, from how do we keep our best players in the games without them getting hurt standpoint.
So what you're basically saying is, even if he's being, facetious, even if he's writing this tongue in cheek.
It sounds logical.
It's bad because somebody out there may pick it up and say, "Oh, this guy's a genius."
Exactly, and that's the problem because there are plenty of gullible people. Again, Andrew Boardwine. He's probably just sitting in his home office somewhere, pounding out an article.
Basement, I think.
Yeah, pounding out an article and posting it up on the Saturday Blitz website, which I don't know anything about the Saturday Blitz. Could be a tiny little publication, could be a big-time publication. But again, the problem is these things like act as an earwig, and then they start working their way up the line, even to the point where athletic directors will say, well, he's got a point, right? So here is his case.
I already don't like him, by the way.
I know. You shouldn't like this man. Boo this man. Here's his case for Florida State and Clemson canceling their rivalries. Quote, at first glance, canceling these games might sound like heresy, and that's because it is. But if the ultimate goal is making the college football playoff, then these rivalries become a little more questionable, at least in my mind. Point number one. The biggest risk is injury. Playing an intense rivalry game right before the ACC championship or a play-in game for the conference's second automatic qualifier means that Clemson or Florida State could go into that game banged up. If either team has already secured an appearance during that week, what's the upside in risking key players against an SEC team that doesn't have the same playoff pressures? So here's point number one.
Injuries.
You don't want your key players getting hurt. So why should you play in these games that really matter to your fans?
Let me ask you this. Is he saying don't play in them at all or don't play in them late in the season?
He's saying don't play in them during rivalry weekend.
That's dumb.
And we'll get to the second part of that question here in just a second.
Look, to me, Diesel, the players, yes, they want to play the next week. They don't want to get injured. I get all of that, but at the same time, people who have grown up entrenched in these communities, Diesel, they know how important these games are. Who cares about an injury?
You want to wrap these players in bubble wrap?
No.
I mean, it's turning into like the risk management industry, right? Where you could say, and I'm shocked that there aren't numbers here that say this, that the rate of injury when you play against SEC teams goes up. So the numbers here, the data says you're more likely to get injured if you are Cade Klubnik, for example.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get injured against Clemson or against South Carolina than you would if you were playing against the Sisters of the Poor that weekend or even another conference opponent because it's just
they're tougher.
Bigger, tougher, stronger football players. So that's argument number one, which is an argument we've heard when it comes to why did Duke bother playing in the ACC tournament? Why did Clemson play? Two key injuries from both of three, actually. Three key injuries on those two teams.
It's true. I get that part of it, but at the same time, I think, just real quick, touching on that, I think conference tournaments and rivalries are completely different.
Very different things.
Completely different things. You're talking about a conference tournament when the head Diesel, the head guy who covers college basketball more than anybody else in the world, comes out on Sunday morning before the SEC championship and says, oh, this game, the seeding's already locked in. It doesn't really matter between Tennessee and Florida who wins. The guy who covers college basketball more than anybody comes out and says that. That's not the case with rivalry weekend. Didn't we see a couple of years ago South Carolina keep Clemson out of the college football playoff?
Yeah.
Those games
there
matter.
There are implications.
Yeah.
So there you go. Fear of injury, risk of injury is point number one. And that there is a tiny bit of validity to that. And coaches will say there's validity to that. Athletic directors will say there's validity to that. Point number two. A non-conference loss to Florida or South Carolina the week before won't technically eliminate either team, but it could impact their seeding or momentum heading into championship weekend. Meanwhile, the SEC hoards 4 automatic bids, meaning their teams have more margin for error. Clemson and Florida State, not as much. Instead of playing their in-state rivals, both programs could be better off scheduling a gimme game against an in-state FCS opponent or lower-level Group of 5 team. Then you get a chance to mostly rest your starters and get prepared for postseason play. That is the biggest whiny, crybaby, pansy, probably wears diapers and sucks on a pacifier for fun argument I've ever heard.
Here's my problem with that in relation to college football. The biggest issue with that, and I don't know what this guy's thinking, if he's thinking at all, does he think every team makes the postseason? No. How many years did Clemson and South Carolina play, or Michigan and Michigan State, or Ohio and Ohio State play when they're not there's only 12 teams that get in. What postseason are you preparing for? The Quickshire Bowl? The new way? I mean, come on. That's dumb. It's not college basketball.
His argument here is that if you're Clemson and you are college football playoff bound, and you lose to South Carolina in the last weekend of the season, then you're going to be sad, and you're not going to play as good
and they should have won. I mean, it happened. That literally happened, but guess what? You win the game. It's a rivalry game. Rivalries mean more than, well, what could happen if they eliminate? Well, you better win the games.
He doesn't talk about the fact that beating your rival in the last week can propel you into playing better in your conference championship game. What if Clemson was just kind of right there on the edge, teetering to get into the ACC championship game, which kind of happened this year, right?
Yeah.
And then beating South Carolina, which they didn't this year, suddenly wakes something up in you, and you play better in the ACC championship game, and you ride that momentum into the college football playoff. This is the kind of panty waist stuff, Cole, that works its way up to the higher ups.
Well, let's hope not.
You know, and these are the guys, unfortunately, Cole, even though this particular writer isn't in control of anything, these like peddlers of the what-if scenario, those are the people who are running college football right now. Because it was somebody who said, what if we could make Ohio State, Oregon a conference game? Like, wouldn't it be great? Like, God, we love Oregon. We love Ohio State. We love Michigan. We love Southern Cal. But they don't play each other enough. What if we completely blew up a conference in the Pac-12 and we brought the biggest brands halfway across the country or all the way across the country when you're playing Rutgers and you're playing Penn State, just so that we could get those occasional what-if games played more often?
Well, if you do that, what's the point of having any structure at all? I mean, just
schedule who you want.
Yeah, I mean, every year there's no – I mean, that's dumb. Again, to me, it screams, hey, it's a slow season. There's not really a lot going on with college football. I don't have anything. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to teams, so I'm going to write about something dumb. That's what it sounds like. It's dumb.
It's sad. It's sad because it takes a gullible person in a high-ranking position or somebody who has the ear of a gullible person in a high-ranking position to read this and say, maybe he's got a point.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. Let's go to the phone lines and bring on Dewey, who I know has something to say about this. Dewey, welcome into the show. What's on your mind today?
Yes, this is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. You taking away the rivalry games. That's absurd, and whoever wrote that article needs to be fired immediately and have his writer's license revoked, because that's just ridiculous. And you worry about the last game of the season. Well, what about the NFL? I guess you just don't play the last game of your season because you're scared you're going to get injured. You're going to get injured in all the games. At any point in the season, you're going to get injured. At any point in the season, you're going to get a key injury. It's going to ruin your season. So I guess you don't play those games either.
We don't say this.
If you want to correct the rivalry game thing and it's at the end of the season, why don't you play at the beginning of the season? You had the ACC SEC challenge. You got Clemson and Carolina at game 1 or in the middle of the season. That's just baby bull crap, and that guy needs to be fired. Oh!
Thanks, Dewey. God, bringing energy. We don't say this a lot.
Fired up today.
These words don't come out of our mouths often, but Dewey's right.
He is.
Dewey's right. Let's say it on
this
air.
This guy made him mad. He makes me mad too.
I mean, Dewey's always fired up, but Dewey was a little more fired up today than he was emotional today. So, everybody needs to be fired.
What would you, the Clemson and South Carolina fan base contingencies listening right now, what would you do if somebody with authority actually floated this? Like, could you imagine if Greg Sankey said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and cancel out-of-conference late-season games because we don't want to mess with the playoff hopes of our teams.
I think there's too much money.
If Greg Sankey says, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. Sorry, Florida fans. sorry, Clemson fans, you're not going to get to play, or sorry, South Carolina fans, you're not going to get to play your in-state teams anymore by conference mandate. Like, what would you do? Like, would you?
It would feel like 2020 when Clemson and South Carolina didn't play. You know, it was awful. It was terrible.
I know that the SEC already does its late season SEC SoCon showdown, and it's the best teams in the conference that most likely have a chance to win the conference that do it more often than not. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this series was canceled, and you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan, and instead of seeing Clemson in the last week of the season, you're getting Citadel instead.
I'll tell you,
you're getting Georgia Southern instead. What would you do? Like, would you boycott the game, or would you just say okay and accept it?
If that were to happen, it would take decades, and I mean literal decades, for the acclimation process, the healing process to take place. What I mean is Clemson fans and South Carolina fans, that's what they're known for. That's what they know. They know the rivalry. They hate each other. I saw a Twitter video earlier today from Barstool Gamecocks of some guy in the Dominican who barely spoke English, who a South Carolina fan or a student handed the phone to, and he was like, bashing Clemson. He don't even know who Clemson is. Diesel, it would take decades.
Yeah.
It would take people, years and years of people dying off, traditions dying off, for that for it not to be a thing, because this is what we all know, and I think it might take 30 to 50 years for it to seem normal and there not be a rivalry.
To those fans who already know and love the rivalry, yes, you're right about that. But let's say this thing got canceled and for 10 years the games weren't played, which is not a wild thing to say.
Yeah.
Now you've got 2 or 3 classes of college students who don't have that. They didn't experience that as a student. And so they don't come out of college feeling the same way about their rival as the other does. I'm an App State grad, Cole, and long before I was there, Marshall was App State's bitterest rival. And then while I was there, Georgia Southern was our bitterest rival. And there's people right now to this day who say, I don't feel anything for Georgia Southern because they weren't a rival of mine when I was in school.
Yeah.
And there are people who say, I don't feel anything against Marshall because they weren't a rival when I wasn't alive when that was a rivalry. So you take the student body out of it for a couple of generations, man, and you leave a big old hole, and they don't really understand why it was a big rivalry in the first place.
I think it would take several generations with Clemson and South Carolina, just because you have like sons, fathers, grandfathers who this is what they know. They hate Clemson. They hate South Carolina. I'll tell you this.
But if you don't play them in anything.
I know, but you'd still have those people. I think it would take 30 to 50 years. I really do. I will say that's how, number one, that's how big this rivalry is to those who are from this state. And number two, the second thing is that's how much these fan bases can't stand each other. And look, you know what? I don't know that I would love sports in South Carolina as much if that were to happen. South Carolina and Clemson, growing up in the rivalry, that's what makes sports in this state great. We're not a big market. We don't have an NBA team. We don't have an MLB team right here in our backyard. Clemson, South Carolina is what fuels this state when it comes to sports talk. It doesn't matter if it's in Charleston, Columbia, Spartanburg, right here in Greenville. Clemson, South Carolina is always number one. And without that, Diesel, it would be tough, man. It really would be.
Yeah.
It'd be sad. I hope it never happens.
Me too.
You've made me kind of, a little bit depressed.
Texter says, biggest sports time of the year, and y'all are talking about college football. Well, it's always college football season, Texter. You know, we can try to talk a little bit of college baseball, crickets. We can talk NBA, crickets. Talk NFL free agency or Major League Baseball free agency, crickets. College football is the only thing that gets people talking year-round. So
football, again, it's the rivalry.
And this is also Clemson, South Carolina. This is the heart of the Tolo in the state of South Carolina, is this rivalry. Regardless of sport, it is the rivalry. It is the beating heart of this state.
Yeah, it is. And I hope it never goes away, because if it does, it'll be sad. Very, very sad. Diesel, coming up next, a lot to get to. A lot of good audio has surfaced over the last 24 to 48 hours from the weekend, from yesterday, from March Madness, coaches, upset governors in certain states. Audio Blitz on a Tuesday. That's next. just announced in our inbox that the 2025 Garnet and Black Spring Game at South Carolina will be held on April the 18th at 7:30. Admission free to all fans. Experiences and auctions that fans can participate all throughout the day. You can get VIP experience as well. Fireworks show at the end of the game. A little nighttime spring game. As we're almost to that time of year, Diesel, March Madness is here. And after that, it'll be spring games and draft. And then after that, it'll be summer baseball. That's about it. As we have a loaded show coming your way today.
Then it'll be portal season.
Portal season. We, Diesel and I, are going to get official at 4 o'clock today. Right here, we have our brackets. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, you can see the bracket that I was just holding up. We'll fill those out at 4 o'clock, 4:20. We have Evan Miyakawa of evanmiya.com joining us at 5:20. And then today's the big day. We put Diesel to the test. The NCAA Tournament Mascot Challenge begins 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock today. We will be rolling this thing out. Let's see how smart Diesel is when it comes to the mascots. That's going to be a lot of fun. Tolos, you can play along as well. But a little audio blitz. And Diesel, let's start with someone who was not happy. We talked about this yesterday. The governor of West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey, not happy. In fact, there was a press conference held yesterday because of West Virginia not getting in the tournament.
Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. UNC had representation in the room during the selection process. Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director for UNC. He also happens to be the head of the tournament selection committee.
So one of the very first things that he brings up is Bubba Cunningham. And Diesel, I love that because we talked about that yesterday. West Virginia, the governor, the fans, the residents, they're not happy. Afterwards, he made an appearance on television where he said this.
I don't know if you saw the press conference, but I talked about what we did a couple years ago where we sent letters to the NCAA, and these guys said, oh, you know, what does a letter do? The first two letters they blew off. Then we sued them. Then we changed the transfer eligibility rules. So it's just a process, right? You go through. Here, look, this happened last night. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. It smells really badly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not here to tell you that this is going to get reversed by the time they're playing in Dayton. But I am here to tell you that having the focus of you guys and the whole country looking at what looks to be a really dysfunctional and non-transparent system, I think that's the kind of thing we could change long term. And that's why you do it. You want to make sure that West Virginia, the school that'll grind and grind and grind you out, we're not going to take it from the Blue Bloods. And we're going to.
So I'm going to pause the audio.
I'm going to put the system
Diesel,
on trial.
Are they wasting? This is hilarious, number one. Are they wasting their time, energy, and efforts here? I mean,
yeah.
what?
They're not going to change anything.
No.
They're not going to change anything.
He said, we'd be surprised if they reversed it. Like, all of a sudden, the NCAA is going to say, hold up, wait a minute, on a random Tuesday evening, we were wrong.
Could you imagine North Carolina being on a flight out to wherever they're playing their first playing game, and then all of a sudden the plane, they just feel it go,
hey guys, turn this thing around. We're going back home.
This is your captain speaking. The governor of West Virginia has successfully sued. You will not be playing. God. Could you imagine
they
that?
Have sued the NCAA. Turn the plane around.
God.
Go home. That's bad. Here's the rest of what he said.
To stand up for ourselves.
Yeah, I love it.
Great answer.
Yeah. How quickly?
By the way, credit to Barstool for getting this clown on right after the press conference. This is audio gold.
How quickly last night when you saw the bracket revealed did you get into action?
Pretty quickly. We started talking about this right away. And I'll be honest with you, I was thinking of going up to Dayton. There was a chance I thought we'd be in the first four. In fact, interestingly, before the show, I was thinking we probably wouldn't be in the top four because all the picks were having us in. Out of 111 of the bracketologists, everyone had WVU in the field. So we were thinking we weren't part of the last four. And to me, what really smells is when WVU's the first one out and North Carolina is the last one in.
Yep.
And the chairman of the selection committee. So look, you can disappear for a small period of time, but you're there the entire time. That's the kind of stuff that people say, well, wait a minute, what's going on? And I think people want to get an answer to that.
Yeah.
You and I talked about that yesterday, right? Yes, Bubba leaves the room for 39 and a half seconds while they talk about North Carolina. But he's like,
His influence is still there.
Right. And look, is the West Virginia governor a little whack? Maybe. But I'm just saying, look, he's right on that. He is still there. The AD of North Carolina shouldn't be on that committee.
Is this where we are now? Like, is this going to be the new precedent? So he talks about, trying to change the system. Is the system or the precedent now going to be a team that feels like they got screwed, especially if it's a big-time state school? And it sure as heck helps if the governor, lieutenant governor, whoever is a high up is like an alum, right? Are they going to start going to bat legally for the teams in their state that get screwed?
That's crazy.
Now imagine for a moment that the governor of West Virginia is a Marshall alum. Do you really think he's going on Barstool, standing or stump speeching for West Virginia? No, he's not. I guarantee you this governor's a West Virginia alum.
It's unbelievable, man. It is unbelievable. And this is my whole point to everyone who wants to, keep expand the idiots out there who have said, hey, let's expand the college football playoff because expansion means no controversy. Oh, okay. Tell me that again, because that's definitely not the case. You just look at what's happening right now in college basketball. That is not the case. But audio gold from the governor of West Virginia. Diesel, up next in the audio blitz, McNeese head coach, the team that's playing Clemson this weekend. Will Wade, who, by the way, went to Clemson, talks about playing his alma mater in the first round, and I don't know if it's just me, doesn't really sound like he's all in with McNeese.
I went to Clemson. They're a team I follow, both in football, basketball, baseball, all sports. But it'll be a tough matchup. No, I mean, shoot, first time I hear that fight song, I'll twirl my arm for the ON, but no, I'm just joking. I mean, look, I've been gone a long time. I graduated in 05-ish or something like that. I mean, I've been gone a long time, and I was on staff there a couple years, so I've been gone a long time. And I follow the football program very closely. Y'all all know that. We don't practice when they play football. But I've been gone a long time, and it's a great place, great people. I know a lot of folks there still, and all my college friends, I'm sure my phone will have some beautiful messages when I check them. So, but yeah, it's a great place. But once that ball goes up, man, I'm all McNeese.
Does it sound like he's all McNeese?
I don't think he's all in. McNeese. Cowboys?
Sounds getting a little
Cowboys?
prep. We'll see.
I think that's
5
right.
o'clock. 5. He does not sound like he's all in with McNeese. He sounds like he's still in Clemson, but he's just coaching at McNeese for a hobby, right? We don't practice when Clemson plays football, man. It's just a no-no, right?
I think he was saying, man, I was really going to angle for that job if they had ended up firing that bum Brad Brownell.
There's no doubt. That was exactly what he would have said next. If Brad Brownell, and I've already had people ask me, if Brad Brownell goes, do you think Will Wade will get the job? Tolo asked me that a couple of days ago.
I don't know if he'd get it, but he sure as hell take it.
Oh, yeah, he'd want it. I think he's already applied. Hey, I know Brad hadn't left for Indiana yet, but here's my application.
Dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. Will Wade, why are you wearing a Clemson Tiger Paw shirt today?
Why is all of your text in with Go Tigers? I mean, you're the head coach of McNeese. We'll see. T-Swizzle, what's up in the stream? 80 of you Tolos in the YouTube stream where you can watch the show, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. T-Swizzle, Kane, JD, DB, Brian, Steven, and 81, 82 now. One more for you. Not one more, a few more. But the next one, Diesel, is a guy in John Rothstein who is one of the few people that I have tweet notifications for. Tweet notifications can get annoying.
Yeah.
But John Rothstein's one of the guys that I do.
Smart fella.
Right.
Real plugged in.
He's the most plugged in guy in college basketball, you would assume. He was on one of Barstool's shows, Pardon My Take. They asked him if he has every single coach's in Division I basketball phone number.
Every single head coach's number?
Yes.
Wow. Most powerful phone in the East Coast.
Like every single one.
Every single one, I believe. I mean, what I do is I kind of like when I get back from the Final Four, like you use April to detox a little bit, and then you spend some time over the summer just making sure your Rolodex is on point and everything is on point, and then you just go. You make sure you're locked in.
Yeah. How often do you text these guys?
I would say probably. Let me think. I mean, I think it's pretty. I have daily communication, so it's like I would say with every staff, there's daily communication. It might just be for an injury update. It might be like, what is the key to this game? On game days, I like to follow up if a team, because if I'm in the studio, I like to have obviously nuggets on what they think keys to the game are or trends to watch. Because when you're trying to cover everything, I always try to, as somebody who's a non-player coach, get the insight of the player of the teams that I'm covering from their perspective. So it's constant communication, and in the offseason, it's constant communication as well because there's things to cover during the offseason. Does
anybody have a more strenuous job than John Rothstein?
How many cups of coffee has he had?
I mean, he is. For a minute, I was like, is this video sped up? Is it? No, it's in real time.
So, I mean, imagine he's got to have an assistant whose entire job it is to manage the Rolodex in his phone. Because, I mean, think about it. These guys are changing jobs all the time. And now you get behind on it by just a couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, you text somebody and be like, hey, how's it going over there at St. Mary's? Yeah, Coach, I'm at Vanderbilt now.
Yeah.
And you text the last guy at Vanderbilt, where are you now? I'm sitting on the beach somewhere. Coach, I got fired.
It's crazy,
It's got to be hard to do.
It sounds stressful. It sounds really stressful. Speaking of stressed, Diesel, yesterday we talked about Dawn Staley and her not being happy with not being the number 1 overall seed. Lindsey Gottlieb is also not happy at USC. They had a really good season as well, and here's what she had to say after finding out where they were going.
I never thought I'd be a 1 seed and feel disrespected, but I thought the committee, I thought there would be very little chance we would be the number 4 overall, number 1. And so, we've got a big game here on Saturday against UNCG, and we'll handle it accordingly. But you tell me if you think that bracket that we got should have been the one that it was. I can't speak for the players. I think they're excited to play, but this was not on my bingo card to be a little bit, frustrated after being a 1 seed, and it's not, an arrogance of any kind. I think there's a lot of really good teams, and you got to play the first game in front of you and earn your way from there, and that's what we'll do. But sometimes I don't understand people who make decisions in women's basketball and why they do what they do, and certainly with this committee, I would love to ask some questions.
Diesel, I feel bad for UNCG. They're going to hang 90 points in the first quarter on UNCG.
Do you feel like there's any validity to anything she just said, or was that all manufactured controversy?
It might have been
like, when people say there's like the phrase of like, these, you wouldn't rank these 1 and 2, you'd rank them 1A and 1B. Well, the person who gets ranked 1B is like, well, why the hell am I not 1A?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's inherently disrespectful to not be considered the absolute best and be the clear
first
best.
World problem.
And then, first world problems. Like, come on. That's exactly the tone of voice that I heard from that Dawn Staley clip that you read yesterday. Oh, I felt like we should have been the number 1 over. You're a freaking 1 seed.
Everybody
It's not
wants
like they
to be.
made you a 3. Shut up.
Everybody wants to be. I like this one. You and I were talking about the other day on how to fill out your brackets. You and I both said, I think you did, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I said, I only fill out 1 bracket. I don't fill out like 9 different brackets like a lot of people do. However, I like this piece of audio from the SEC Network, Diesel. The guys were chopping it up on how many brackets you fill out. Do you agree or disagree with this?
How many brackets you fill out? There's only one answer.
Oh. Too many?
No, there's 3. No. You do 3. The 3 H's here, Slade. You do H for hurry. Okay. As soon as you get the bracket, we all did it. You take 60 seconds. You go out there. That's bracket number 1. Number 2 is with your head. Take a little bit of time. All right, talk to Steffi. She's the smartest one of the whole 4 of us. Figure out what she wants. Copy of all for her work. And then number 3, the H, is the heart. It's the one that you want to see happen. 3 is the acceptable answer. I won't accept any other.
There's a 4th H. Horse crap.
So what do you think about
I got a little bit of that in my pants after that. Boom,
I know.
in
The
my
3
headset.
H's. Hurry, head, heart. So basically, to Peter Burns' point, you do the very first one, like quickly, as soon as they come out. Then you take a nap, go to sleep, wake up the next day, right? Do one with your head. And then the third one, which I didn't do this year. I wouldn't be totally opposed to it. Do one with your heart. What do you want to happen? Walford all the way in the national championship, right? That's what I want.
Well, that's a waste of time.
It is
to
a waste.
fill that
That's
bracket
right.
out.
And it's not gonna, that's why I only fill out one.
I think the hurry and the head brackets are probably fairly similar.
Yeah.
Because the hurry bracket, you're probably thinking more chalk than anything else. The head bracket is when you're like, okay, let me go back and convince myself why a couple of these chalk teams aren't going to win. But the heart bracket, that's a waste of time.
It is. And one more in this audio blitz. It's Bruce Pearl, so you have to be careful with the audio. I made sure there was no P word said, like he said on national television the other day. But this was him talking about this Auburn team getting back on track. They weren't the best down the stretch. Here's what Bruce Pearl said.
We've got to get our mojo back a little bit, and hopefully that starts in Lexington. Last time we played in Lexington, we beat Kentucky by a couple touchdowns. So I hope that brings out the best. See, when you're the Auburn coach, you got to speak spread based on touchdowns. That's the only way my fans would understand what a 14-point win would be.
Couple of touchdowns is what Bruce
Yeah.
Pearl said.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was taking a little bit of a dig there. But regardless, they do have to play better.
He's not wrong about their mojo being a little off right
Yeah,
now.
it is.
A little preview of my bracket call. I don't have Auburn advancing to the Sweet 16.
You do not.
I do not. I do not. I have Auburn taking a relatively early exit because something is up with this team right now.
You might be right.
And I don't know what it is. And sometimes, the best coaches, this is why they get paid millions of bucks. And I'm guessing Bruce Pearl's probably getting $5.5, $6 million a year to coach. The best coaches can flip the switch and turn them back on in a heartbeat. But for some of these guys, it's a little bit of a process trying to figure out what's wrong with them.
Just a quick preview of, by the way, we're going to give our full picks in the 4 o'clock hour. I have Auburn winning 1, 2, 3, 4 games. Which I don't know if I feel
more than I have.
I know, and I don't know if I feel good about that or not. I don't know. But we'll see.
T Swizzle says he's going St. John's with the heart pick.
I'm with him there, man. T Swizzle, Tolo, turn it on and leave it on because I'm high on St. John's. I have them making a pretty good run.
As do I. When we come back, Cole, are there stadium foods that you automatically go to, like must-eat stadium foods every single time you find yourself, whether it's in a football stadium, a baseball stadium, an NBA arena, that you have to go and get? And are there stadium foods that you must avoid?
Dude.
One big-time celebrity ran into the wrong stadium food item and, well, also left it on the court in the NBA. That story's coming up next. on average, Cole, how much would you say you spend at a NFL game, NBA game, Major League Baseball game, or just minor league baseball too, on concessions? I know you don't drink beer, so not including beer, but just in food. How much do you spend?
I would say on average $20, $25, not real heavy.
Yeah. It's impossible to get out there without spending anything.
Yeah, but here's the deal. $20, $25 isn't much. $20, $25 might be you don't get a sandwich and some peanuts and a drink. Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, it's tough out there, man. But you can't it's part of the experience.
You gotta get something. Yeah. You and I did when we were at the Clemson South Carolina game.
Yeah, I got some I got a burger, which was not a good choice. I got a bag of peanuts, which was a great choice. And then I got a soft serve ice cream, which was a great choice.
Yeah, I did boiled peanuts, which I'm a boiled over roasted guy.
I'm a roasted guy.
They were good.
Tracy Morgan, you know who that is, right?
Yes.
The stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Brian Fellows on Saturday Night Live. He was Tracy Jordan for years and years on 30 Rock. If you were watching last night's, I think it was last night, might have been Tuesday night.
No, it was last night. I watched
last night's Knicks Heat game. Yeah. You might have caught the shot of Tracy Morgan losing his concessions all over the sidelines at Madison Square Garden.
Like
Tracy,
on the court.
On the court. He was sitting courtside.
Yeah.
And you could say, this is so bad, man. Somebody is just like filming him from across the way. Then you can see him like pinching in and zooming into their phone. And you just see him like hunched over. And then there it goes, all over the floor. Good news is Tracy Morgan is okay. He posted up from his hospital bed with his shirt off, covered in all these like little EKG stickers, giving a thumbs up. He's okay. He apparently ate something bad at Madison Square Garden, threw up all over the floor. They wheeled him out on a wheelchair, but he's okay. And he's actually got really good spirits out of it. Think about it. This guy he's a celebrity. He's probably rich. I would assume he's rich.
Yeah,
I wouldn't assume he's like crazy rich. He's a stand-up comic after all. He's not.
But he had to go to the hospital because
he went to the hospital. Yeah, they took him. I mean, you don't know. You don't know what else could have been going on in there. But he said. More importantly, the Knicks are 1-0 when I throw up on the court, so maybe I'll have to break it out again in the playoffs. #Go Knicks.
So here's what's interesting. I got home last night. I was doing a few things for work and other things. I had the game on. I didn't see that happen live. I was watching in and out, but I never saw it until I got on TikTok later last night or early this morning, and somebody got a beautiful shot. I mean, just a really good shot. Not once. But it was, I mean, can you imagine being right beside that guy or 2 or 3 seats down, and it's your first time at an NBA game sitting courtside, and you've got a guy to your right just hurling? I couldn't do it. That might be the last time I sat courtside.
Dan B says, didn't Tracy also run a McLaren into someone in New York City? I don't know about that, Dan. I have to look it up. I've never heard that story. I'm not saying he didn't. Don't know what he ate, though. Unfortunately, maybe he's trying to help out his friends over at Madison Square Garden. Apparently, he's there courtside a lot for Knicks games. Didn't say what it was that he ate at the arena that caused the protein spill on the floor, Cole. But again, we kind of jumped the shark there. What stadium foods are a must eat every time you go to a stadium, and what do you avoid eating? Because everybody's got those things that you say, yeah, no, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
Must eats for me, roasted peanuts. I know you're a boiled peanut guy. I'm a roasted peanut guy. Always got to get a hot dog. Always got to get some ice cream. If I get those 3 things, peanuts, hot dog, ice cream, I've had a good day at the ballpark.
I think for me, especially like when I go to baseball games, whether it be minor league or the Braves, which I just got tickets to opening weekend, so I'm excited about that. We'll see. It's going to be the Marlins, I believe. So the Braves might be like 0-6. However, I think for me it's like a hot dog or a brat. I think that's the go-to. You got to get one or the other.
I don't think I've been to a ball game that serves brats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I ate one at South Carolina Clemson game. I believe it was before you got there, like early. But I love – you've got to go – you've got to go hot dog or brat, number one. And then things to avoid, something spicy. You don't want to eat anything spicy right there.
Don't trust it.
Yeah, I mean, with the facilities, you don't want to be back there just taking a look. No.
Well, the one thing I definitely don't trust is nachos. That
You don't like
cheese
nachos?
doesn't look like real cheese. It's not the consistency of of cheese.
It's still good,
But
though.
I could deal with the cheese. The problem is those awful stadium nacho chips.
Stale.
They're stale, but they're not. I think they're like extra thick to stand up to like heavy artificial plasticky cheese, and they just don't taste
But you
good.
throw that cheese on there and it's
It
fine.
tastes like some sort of a waffle fried chip thing, and it's terrible.
But you throw the cheese and the
No,
jalapenos.
man, that's what I'm staying away from. I don't eat nachos at any sporting event.
What about the jalapeno, the jalapenos on top, man? You talk about in trouble. You might really be in trouble. However,
Yeah, let's mix a 95-degree day with fake nacho chips, fake nacho cheese, and jalapenos when there's 60,000 other people at the game. Good luck
and
with
there's
that.
a line to the restroom. That's the best part, right? Diesel, it is time. There is no more waiting. Tolos, Diesel, and I reveal our brackets. Who is winning it all? That's next. Well, Tolos, it is time. The time is now. If you want to be an expert when filling out your bracket, you need to turn it on and leave it on for these next two segments because Diesel and I are going to do our bracket reveal right now on the Fan Upstate. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. Welcome into the program. You can watch the show live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 96 Tolos in the stream right now. Just a heads up, Tolos, tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the very first segment, we will be asking you for your national championship pick and why. So you've got 23 hours from now until 3 o'clock tomorrow to get your national championship pick and the reason why you're picking them. The phone lines will be open, the text line as well. But we're going to ask you who your national championship is, your national championship pick is, rather, to start the show tomorrow. But Diesel, we did a little hard copy. You and I did. We're sophisticated,
you got
right?
Yours. I got mine. Mine's color. Look at that.
And you must have used the expensive printer. Mine's black and
Well,
white.
the ink is free.
Black.
Use it.
Black and white. I don't know. Mine prints out to the news. What is that behind us? The newsroom. Yeah. So I don't guess we have color in the newsroom. But nonetheless, Tolos, it's time. We ask you that as we go through this bracket, live react. You can tweet us at Diesel on Radio is Diesel's Twitter. Mine is at the Cole Bryson. Also text in at 844-326-3663. It's the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, by the way. And let us know if we're right or wrong. But Diesel will do 2 quadrants during this segment. We'll do 2 during the next. And we will give in the very next segment our national championship pick. I have a surprise team in my national championship. Do you want to do the left side of the bracket first and then go to the right?
We'll do the left side of the bracket first.
Okay.
Just want to let all of our Tolos who are in the wire-to-wire bracket challenge on ESPN.com to go submit your picks.
Yes.
Go submit your picks.
Look right there, DB. 42 in the group so far. Way to go.
Love it.
There you go. Thank you for
Gotta
that,
get
DB.
50. Let's get 50.
I said yesterday we could get 40.
That's great.
40's good, but 50 would be better.
So there are games tonight and tomorrow.
Yep.
Playing games tonight and tomorrow. Big games. You know, the tournament gets started in earnest on Thursday.
12:15.
So what happens really, unless you predict North Carolina or San Diego State or Mount St. Mary's to go on a run and win a national championship, you don't have to get your picks in,
Right.
but
By
tonight, but you should.
But you
right?
should. I mean,
you should.
it's time. You got to go. Look at that bracket
go
right
time.
there. Look at that.
I guarantee
Show
you,
yours, Diesel.
we're gonna have a couple of Tolos who don't get their brackets in at all. They will have signed up for the contest.
You know the beauty of it? Tomorrow we'll be able to go.
Yep.
Or Thursday. Because it'll be busted.
Oh,
it'll be
man.
done. All right, so this segment, we'll do the left side. We'll give our team that gets to the Natty. And then in the next segment, we'll do the right side, and we'll tell you who's going to win it all. I've got one surprise. But, Diesel, let's start. Round of 64, live reaction Tolos as we go through these brackets. Diesel, are you confident right now?
In myself?
Why? What's your name?
In my choice of clothing? Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. I think I look pretty good today.
Real quick, one quick phone call before we start. Big Kev wants to chime in at on the phone lines at 844-FAN-PHONE. Before we start our bracket reveal, let's go to Kev. What's up, Kev?
What's up, fellas?
How are you,
What's
man?
up?
Man, I'm all right, man. Hey, man, they don't want my boys in it, man, but I feel like we can go on a run till we play somebody that's really good.
Who's your boys, for those that don't know?
You know my boys are them North Carolina Tar Heels up the road there, bud.
Kevin, they're not going anywhere, are they?
Kev, if you could have a conversation with the governor of West Virginia, who said that he was calling out Bubba Cunningham being the chair of the committee, he was casting aspersions left and right. What would you say to him if you could?
Watch.
Just watch.
He says
I
watch.
love it. He goes, I need one word for you, and that word is watch.
Watch. I like that. That's a good word. Kev, who's your national? Hey, actually, no. Can you call back tomorrow at 3 o'clock and give us your national championship winner?
I will.
Okay.
I got that.
3 o'clock segment tomorrow. Thanks, Kev.
Appreciate it.
And for him, go Tar Heels. I mean, for Kev. I
can't
Kev.
say those words.
I know. You can't.
I can't do
I'll
it.
say it for Kev. Wesley Roberts, I just sent you the link, so you should have that now to join. Tolos, join the bracket, and join the bracket. Diesel, let's start on the left side. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Auburn versus Alabama State / SFPA. Is there any time or is there any need to spend any time on this one?
No, Auburn's going to win.
Okay, so you and I both have Auburn advancing to the round of 32, right?
Yep.
After the play-in game. Up next, Louisville, the 8 seed, versus Creighton, the 9 seed. You have Louisville advancing. I, Diesel, also have Louisville advancing. So thus far, you and I both have the same picks in the top left part of the bracket. Tolos, if you want to be able to see these picks, I think once the tournament starts, you can see Diesel and I's bracket on the Tournament Challenge app. So we have Auburn, Louisville playing one another. Let's go down to Michigan versus UC San Diego. Diesel?
I got the Tritons.
I got
the Tritons.
That's good. I'm with you.
They shoot a lot of threes.
You're going with the 12 over the 5.
I'm going with the 12 over the 5. This is one of my 5 big upsets that I'm calling in the first round of the tournament. And I like UC San Diego because they shoot a lot of threes. They shoot it well. They rebound well. They are really good at picking pockets, so I think they're going to force a lot of turnovers.
So
against Michigan, I think they're going to get some opportunities, and they're going to bang home some of those threes and shock the world.
I'll tell you this. I've watched Michigan 4 or 5 times this year. They've been on national television, in the 8 o'clock time slot, noon time. I'm not impressed. I am with you. I am also picking UC San Diego to upset Michigan, the 12 over the 5.
I promise we didn't copy each other's brackets.
We did not. We really didn't. So far, we're 3 for 3, Diesel. A&M versus Yale. A&M's the 4 seed. Yale is the 13 seed. Who advances?
The dumb farm boys will beat up the smart rich boys.
I'm with you there. Texas A&M advances to play UC San Diego. Ole Miss versus SDSU UNC.
Ole Miss.
I'm with you. So far, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, sorry, Kev, on that one.
We got
You're
your North
right.
Carolina Tar Heels, who shouldn't be in there if you ask the governor of West by God, Virginia.
Yeah.
That they won't advance.
No, you're right. 5 picks. You and I are dead heat. I mean, 5 for 5, which I can't believe. Again, we did not do these together. Iowa State, the 3 seed, playing Lipscomb, the 14 seed. Diesel?
Iowa State.
Iowa State advances. Iowa State's really good. They're a really good team. And
Big 12 is undervalued.
It is. I'll say this. Iowa State could make a deep, deep run. I really believe they could. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 6. How about that? You and I on the same page. Maybe not a lot of difference in our brackets after all. Number 10, New Mexico versus number 7, Marquette. Diesel has who advancing?
I got Marquette in this game.
So I originally had New Mexico. I switched it about an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
In the office, I switched it, and I'm going Marquette. I'm with you as well.
I think New Mexico probably wants to try to slow this game down, get to the free throw line a bunch because they're really good at shooting free throws, really good at getting free throw attempts in the game. I think Marquette's just going to have a little too much number 1 tournament experience because Marquette is in there most of the time.
Yeah, they are. They're good.
And I think they're just a little more talented across the board, and that will get it done for Marquette and the Golden Eagles.
We're getting a little prepared. 5 o'clock, by the way, mascot challenge. The number 2 seed Michigan State Spartans versus the number 15 seed Bryant. Diesel.
Michigan State.
I had Bryant upsetting them at first. So in the top left quadrant, you and I are dead on with our first round picks. Dead on. We agree on every single one of them, which means we'll both be terribly wrong. That's how that thing works.
The whole thing's going to get shattered on day 1.
It's going to be awful, awful, awful. All right, let's go down to the bottom side of the quadrant. Okay. Florida versus Norfolk State. They are the 16 seed. Florida, obviously, the 1 seed. A very good Florida team. Yep. Is you picking a 16 over a 1 here?
No.
No. I tried to get you. All right, I do think you and I are going to have some differences, though, the rest of the way down. The 8 versus the 9, which is always a good game, I think. You have the 8 seed UConn Huskies, number 9 Oklahoma. Diesel, who advances? Does the SEC start off strong?
This is my second big upset of the bracket. Not a big upset as far as seeding goes, but as far as basketball reputation goes, I got Oklahoma.
Do you really?
Getting this one done. I do.
This is the first time you and I have split. We made it along. I mean, we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for 9. You and I split here. We're disagreeing. I'm going UConn over Oklahoma. Tolos, fill out your brackets with us. I mean, while we're giving you our picks right now, fill it out. Let us know what you think as well. So Diesel and I disagree there. Let's go down. Number 5, Memphis. Number 12, Colorado State.
Memphis.
Diesel, you go Memphis? Mm-hmm. I went Memphis until about 2 hours ago.
Changed it.
I changed it. I'm calling for a pretty big upset. Number 12, Colorado State upsets Memphis.
Ooh.
But you're going with the Tigers.
I'm going with the Tigers.
You know what's interesting? I was going through here and I was thinking that I didn't have enough upsets. So this is my logic in this thing. Don't have enough upsets. Let's pick some more upsets. I mean, that's going to work out great, right?
In your mind, then, Cole, what's the right number of upsets you should pick in the first round? Like, because you can't go chalk all the way.
No, you got to have 1 or 2 in there, man. You got to have 1 or 2 on each side.
It's always more than 1 or 2,
I know,
though.
it is.
That's the thing. There's always more.
Give me Colorado State to upset Memphis. Let's go down the number 4 seed, Maryland versus 13 seed Grand Canyon. Will the Grand Canyon be able to pull off a deep, wide miracle here?
No. But it'll be the Terps getting it done.
Terps overcoming the Canyon. I'm with you there. I also go Maryland over Grand Canyon. If I said upset just now, I didn't mean that. That might have slipped. Maryland's obviously favored in that one. Down to the Missouri-Drake matchup, a 6 versus an 11. Diesel, this one's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
SEC versus Drake. Drake's a good team. You're picking?
I'm picking Missouri, but this is one that I changed early. I originally went Drake. I changed my mind and thought that the size, I think Drake will probably lead a good chunk of this game, but I think Missouri's size and ultimately will be the reason why they get it done.
I picked Drake. The 11 seed, so there's 2 upsets right there for me. Pretty big upset, 11 over a 6. Drake defeats Missouri in my mind. Rounding out the few remaining, Diesel at the bottom. Texas Tech versus UNC Wilmington. Anything to discuss here?
No, it's all Red Raiders.
I hate it, but you're right. Texas Tech wins and goes on to the second round. 2 more. Kansas versus Arkansas. This one should be a really good game, I think.
Yeah, Kansas versus Arkansas.
Arkansas versus your Kansas.
Yes.
Who wins?
So I'll go with your Kansas.
You going with Mike?
The Jayhawks. Again, more tournament experience. Needs a little more time cooking down there at Arkansas to put that. Cal needs a little more time to get the right roster to get it done. I think they're just going to run into a slightly better team. I'm going
Cal. I'm
really?
going with not Cal like the golden Calipari. I'm going to Arkansas.
Kane says Drake is cooked. His new album is trash.
Oh, the wrong Drake there,
That's
Kane.
a double entendre.
Yeah, good one. I give me number 10 seed Arkansas over Kansas. Diesel in the bottom quadrant on the left side of the bracket. I have a lot of upsets.
So you got 3 upsets
That's right.
so far.
Yeah, and just in that bottom section.
Whew.
And at the very bottom, the team that I am most intrigued to watch this tournament. Yes, I said that. Not Clemson, not Wofford. St. John's, the 2, versus Nebraska, Omaha, the 15, Diesel.
I got St. John's.
I'm with you.
And unfortunately, we will not have a Coach Cal versus Rick Pitino matchup.
No.
I don't do a heart bracket.
I know.
That would be my heart bracket because that's
all right,
what I want to say.
Round of 32. Let's make our way to the winner here. Auburn, Louisville. Oh no, do we both have Auburn, Louisville?
We both have Auburn, Louisville.
All right, my apologies.
Yeah,
you have winning that.
I got Louisville winning.
I
got Louisville knocking off the Auburn Tigers
in
the round of 32.
So you have Louisville going to the round of 16.
I do.
Wow.
Louisville is good.
Pat Kelsey, baby. I love Pat Kelsey.
Auburn's a little shaky right now. I think it's going to be a little tough for Bruce Pearl to turn that ball back on, especially, if they were playing still in the regular season and you had 2 games a week to kind of get right. I'd say, okay, he's going to figure this thing out a little bit faster. But with this format changing up the way they play and the timing of things, I think Auburn's going to take an early exit.
I have Auburn over Louisville. The next one, I have UC San Diego versus A&M. Is that who you have?
I do as well, and I have A&M beating UCSD.
Me as well. The next one, I have Ole Miss, Iowa State. Is that what you have?
I do, and I have Ole Miss winning.
You have Ole Miss winning.
I do.
I have Iowa State knocking the SEC off in that one. I'm high on Iowa State, man. I could be wrong, but I'm high on them. All right, Marquette versus Michigan State is who I have. Is that who you have?
I do, and I've got Sparty taking that
I
one.
do too. Michigan State on top of Marquette. Look, Izzo knows how to win games in March. I like Michigan State to make a little bit of a run. We'll see how long that lasts. All right, the bottom portion. I have Florida versus UConn. You have?
Florida. I have Florida beating Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. So I have Florida beating UConn. You have them beating Oklahoma. All right, so same outcome, right?
Yep.
I have, in the next one down, Maryland defeating Colorado State. You have?
I have Memphis beating Maryland.
Whoa.
I got the Tigers going on a little run here.
That's big. The next one down, making our way, I have Drake losing to Texas Tech. Texas Tech advances, and you have?
I have Missouri losing to Texas Tech.
Okay.
The Red Raiders advance.
All right, last one on this in this round of 32. I have St. John's. Rick Pitino beating John Calipari to go to the Sweet 16.
I'm with you on the same winner, but obviously have them against Kansas.
Okay.
I have Rick Pitino and St. John's making the Sweet 16.
I like it.
So even though our brackets diverged a little bit, we kind of came back together.
We did.
With the winners there.
All right, Sweet 16, here we go. I have, I have Auburn A&M, and winning that game, I have Auburn. Diesel, you have?
I have Louisville beating Texas A&M.
Whoa.
Louisville's going to
hot,
make it
baby.
to the Elite Eight.
They're hot, baby. I like it. And the next Sweet 16 game, I have Iowa State defeating Michigan State. The two states collide, and Iowa State comes out on top. You have?
I disagree. I think Michigan State advances, and I've got Michigan State beating Ole Miss.
Oh, I like it. I like it. All right, next one down. I have Florida defeating Maryland in the round of 16. You have?
Florida defeating Memphis.
Okay. And then last Sweet 16 game, I have St. John's and Rick Pitino, one of the best coaches in the game, defeating Texas Tech. St. John's moves on.
That Red Storm is swarming. So, yes, I also have them. We're moving our way into the Elite Eight.
That's right. You have them advancing?
St. John's advancing past Texas Tech.
Okay. All right, here we go. Elite Eight. The bracket reveal continues. I have Auburn versus Iowa State, and Auburn advances to the Final Four.
Well, Auburn's been long gone out of my bracket, and I'm still riding the hot hand of the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville as the 8th seed, knocking off Sparty, knocking off Michigan State, going to the Final Four, representing the ACC.
I like that. Pat Kelsey, man, I'd be fired up about that. I'm a big Pat Kelsey guy. Diesel in the next Elite Eight game. I have, or the round of 8, I have Florida and St. John's. Maybe the best college basketball game of the year.
Could be.
I have Florida defeating St. John's. Go on.
Do I?
You do?
I have Florida, number 1 seed, making it to the Final Four. Going to be facing off against Louisville.
So Final Four, I have Auburn on this side of the bracket. I have Auburn versus Florida. Advancing out of that, I have the Florida Gators defeating Auburn, the 1 versus the 1 in the Final Four from the left side of the bracket. The Gators punch their ticket to the Natty.
I am hot on Louisville. I'm feeling good about them. Unfortunately, this is where the ride ends. Louisville takes it on the chin, and they go down to the number 1 Florida Gators. I've got Florida also making the semifinal game.
So you and I, on that left side, a little bit of differences, but the same outcome.
We wind up in the same place.
The Gators.
They're really good.
And you know what? I just want to laugh at somebody for a second. I'm not going to call a name here, but you know there are people in the media out there who just make me laugh. There are media members who just make me laugh. There was someone out there who claimed that his Florida pick was one of the only Florida picks out there, and he was so brilliant. Newsflash. Everybody's picking Florida. Watch the television. Open Twitter. This is not some glamorous, oh, look at me. Everybody is picking Florida to win it all, which means they probably won't. I have the left side, Florida Gators coming out of the left side, rather, and advancing to the national championship, as does Diesel. So that, Diesel, is the left side of the bracket.
On the other side of the break, we will get to the right side of our bracket. Stick around for that right here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Tolo says, I filled out my bracket while y'all did that. While Cole and I revealed the left side of our bracket. I hope you didn't use our advice to fill out your bracket, because you may be in trouble, Tolo, if that's the way you choose to do it. Look, this is not a science, okay? This is a whole lot of guessing. Even the smartest people in the game totally blow it when it comes to filling out their brackets.
It's tough.
I mean, otherwise you'd see John Rothstein and Dick Vitale and the guys that live and breathe basketball. You would see them going deep into their brackets and having a perfect record, but they don't, because this is really, really hard to pick your bracket. Tolos, where do we go wrong on the first half, the left side of our bracket? I have Louisville, Florida in my Final Four on the left side, with Florida advancing to the national championship game. Cole, you had...
I have Auburn and Florida. Look, this is what's hard about it.
Wow.
You
racked your brain to get a 1-1, didn't you?
You fill this out, and then you get Auburn, Florida in the Final Four from the left side, and you think to yourself, that's not going to happen. March Madness, it's madness for a reason. So those are the two best teams. Will they make it? They could, but we'll see.
JB says his Final Four is Auburn, Florida. That would be the left side of his bracket. And I tell you what, JB, we're going to hold off on your prediction for the right side of the bracket. But I don't have either of the two teams that you have listed in my Final Four, JB. So let's go to the right side of the bracket, Cole. Let's start upper right-hand corner. Duke versus the winner of American versus Mount St. Mary's. Are you willing to say America will not win in this matchup?
America will not win because Duke's going to win, right?
Oh, yeah.
Duke's going to win. There's no doubt. Duke's.
We don't love your country?
Yeah, no, I wish. I wish I could pull for one of these teams to actually do it, but no, Duke's the way better team.
I got Duke advancing. How about Mississippi State, Baylor? This is one that I spent a lot of time debating this game.
I'm going to go. By the way, I changed this one. I'm going Mississippi State.
So we diverge already.
Yeah, I had Baylor, and then I changed it to the Bulldogs.
I got Baylor in. This is the slight upset, right? Yeah,
8-9,
is the 9 seed. You got Mississippi State as the 8 seed. I like Baylor just a little bit more.
Okay.
All right, let's go down to the next one below that. Oregon versus Liberty. Going the Ducks.
Give me the Ducks in this.
All right.
No upset here.
How about Arizona?
You going Ducks
versus?
too?
Yes, I am. Arizona versus Akron.
Arizona was really good last year. Arizona is going to be too much for Akron. I don't know if they're as good this year as they were last year. I don't know if they make that run like they did, and how to play Clemson. But Arizona does win in the first round.
That's what I have as well. I have the same matchup as you. Oregon versus Arizona in the round of 32. Moving one step down from that, VCU against BYU.
I think this is going to be a good game, like a really good game. People are high on VCU. However, Diesel, I am high on BYU. I am high on Brigham Young. I think BYU advances here, and you'll be surprised when you find out just how far I think they go.
Well, I'm going the opposite. I have VCU getting it done. VCU, the 11 seed.
Yeah,
so
be 11 over a 6.
11 over a 6. This is when they start kind of getting real close to one another.
Okay.
So I like VCU. How about Wisconsin against Montana, the Grizzlies?
Yeah, there was a part of me that I wanted to go Montana, but I'm not. I'm going Wisconsin.
Same here as well.
Wisconsin.
So we're different on the top half of this little setup, not on the bottom half.
Yep.
Moving down from there, we got St. Mary's against Vanderbilt, 7-10.
This is going to be an interesting game. St. Mary's, not a bad team. However, I think Vandy's more battle-tested. I went back and forth here, but I'm going to go Vandy.
I've been high on St. Mary's for a while. I'm sticking.
You going St.?
I'm going St. Mary's over Vandy.
Okay.
How about Alabama versus Robert Morris?
I wish I could pick Robert Morris here, but I was doing some research on them earlier. They haven't played anybody like they'll see this weekend.
This sounds like a lawsuit. The state suing a tobacco company.
No, they're. I think Bama wins big.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't have any.
Sorry, Robert.
Yeah. How about Houston against the winner of SIU Edwardsville? Excuse me, I saw that as a slash. Houston versus SIU Edwardsville.
Yeah, Houston by counter score. Name your score.
Exactly. The win by a couple touchdowns, if you ask Bruce Pearl.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets interesting, Cole.
Eef.
The Battle of the G's, Gonzaga versus Georgia.
This one's interesting. This one's an interesting matchup. Georgia, Diesel, what worries me here is Georgia, not a great team, but they finished the year really strong. However, I'm going with Gonzaga. Give me Gonzaga to beat Georgia and knock a SEC team off in the first round.
I think Gonzaga is just off enough this year without an elite player that Georgia's size frustrates them. They won't be able to get in low. If they're not having a hot three-point shooting night, that's all she wrote for the Zags, and they're out in the first round. I'm going Bulldogs. Get it done. How about Clemson against McNeese State, the Fighting Will Wades?
The Fighting Will Wade. Clemson wins. Could it be close? Yeah, I think it could be.
Yeah.
I think McNeese is going to be fired up for this one. A little bit of juice for Will Wade and those guys, but Clemson does win. I think Clemson will rebound well.
How about Purdue against High Point? I, too, by the way, am going Clemson.
Okay. Diesel, this game could be tricky. I'm picking Purdue, but Purdue's not the same team as they were last year with Zach Edey. Purdue's going to win, but Purdue's not going to win by much.
I think they've got just enough sort of residue, stink on them from last year, and by stink I mean a good thing.
Yeah,
they
just
got that little bit of that musk on them still from last year.
They might.
That Purdue, their size is gonna hassle High Point.
Yep.
Let's go with Illinois versus the winner of Texas Xavier. By the way, who do you have winning Texas Xavier?
I would lean Texas.
Okay, now Texas versus Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois wins that game. Regardless, I think Illinois wins.
This is where I'm going another upset call. I'm going Texas beats the Illini.
What?
Texas.
That's a big upset. I like that. I like it.
How about Kentucky against Troy?
This one.
Everybody says Troy is pesky.
Yeah, this one's been one that I've seen people kind of like in Troy in this spot. Maybe Troy keeps it close. I'm just high on Mark Pope, man. I think he's done a really good job at Kentucky, and I think they're a really good team. Troy might be a fun story for a half. We might be sitting here Thursday and saying, Diesel, look, Troy's tied with Kentucky. Kentucky wins, though.
That would be the biggest win in Troy basketball history. Unfortunately, I don't think they get it done. I've watched enough Sun Belt basketball this year.
Yeah.
The pace of play is just not there. There's skill. Guys can hit shots, but the pace of play isn't there, and I think Kentucky wears them out after a while.
Okay.
How about UCLA versus Utah State?
Another good game, I believe. I hadn't been really high on UCLA all season. Give me Utah State, the 10 over the 7 there. I think Utah State wins.
I have UCLA winning. Just again, another size over speed victory for me. And then all the way to the bottom corner, Tennessee against Wofford.
You know me, from Spartanburg, grown up going to Wofford games. I love Wofford.
Don't do it, Cole.
I love Wofford.
Don't do it.
But
don't do it.
Big butt. Tennessee wins.
Do you like big butts?
Yeah, I mean, Wofford, big butt. Big butt here. I love Wofford, big butt. Tennessee's just way better. No disrespect to Wofford.
Is it going to be over at halftime?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And again, that sounds disrespectful to say. I just think Tennessee's that good, man. And Wofford's going to be outmatched at every single position, 1 through 5, and that's what concerns me.
Well, digging around on the website of our 520 guest, Evan Miyakawa, he's higher on Wofford than a lot of people
I'm wrong.
are.
Hey,
he's got Wofford underseeded pretty significantly.
Diesel, if I've ever wanted to be wrong in my life, I want to be wrong here. Please let me be wrong and Wofford upsets Tennessee.
If Wofford upsets Tennessee, that will blow my bracket to hell.
So you're not calling for an upset?
No, I'm not calling for an upset.
Gotcha.
Okay, so in the first matchup in the second round, I've got Duke defeating Baylor to advance.
I have Duke defeating Mississippi State.
So same outcome. Duke advances.
That's right.
Oregon versus Arizona. I've got Arizona. So a little set up a little match of the Blue Bloods.
I also have Arizona defeating Oregon in that same game. So we're on the same page there.
Interesting. A Big 12, man. They move fast out there. Yeah. VCU against Wisconsin. VCU, good story, beating BYU. I think it ends there, though, and Wisconsin moves on as the 3 seed.
Diesel, I have BYU, as you know, beating VCU in the first.
Mm-hmm.
BYU then as a 6 defeats the 3 in Wisconsin.
Ooh, so
I'm
the
telling you, man.
Mormons advance.
I'm high on I'm high on them.
Really?
I'm high on BYU.
Well, they pray more than anybody else to win. So
maybe
that's
maybe
how
it'll
they
pay
get it done.
off. I'm high on them, so we'll see.
How about the next one down from that? I've got St. Mary's, Alabama. Alabama advances. I know you had Vanderbilt versus, over St. Mary's.
No, I'm with you. Same outcome. I have Bama defeating Vandy to head to the Sweet 16.
Okay, so we both have Duke, Arizona, and Alabama
That's
out
right.
of the top right.
3
out
or
of
4.
The, what quadrant is that? That would be...
That's the East.
Doesn't have it listed on my bracket.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Eastern quadrant.
Okay, let's go down to the Midwest and Houston. I have Houston beating Georgia.
I have them beating Gonzaga. So same outcome.
Same outcome.
Yep.
I have Clemson beating Purdue.
Okay. I also have Clemson defeating Purdue, so we're on the same page there.
And then I have Kentucky getting past Texas.
I have
to go to the Sweet
Kentucky
16.
Diesel defeating Illinois.
Okay, so still same.
Yep.
And then I've got Tennessee over UCLA.
I have Tennessee over Utah State.
How about that, man?
Yeah, look at us.
We have 2, 4, 6. I think we have 7 of the same 8 teams.
Yeah, that's right.
Advancing
We really do.
to the Sweet 16. Now we go the Elite 8. Duke. I got Duke defeating Alabama to make the Final Four. That's going to be another fantastic basketball game.
I have Duke. Oh, we skipped Sweet 16, right? Did we skip it?
I'm sorry. I have Duke beating Arizona.
Yeah, I do too.
In the Sweet 16
That's right.
to advance to the Elite 8.
I do too. I have Duke over Arizona. Duke's they're really good. They're the best team, one of the best teams in the country.
And then I've got Alabama over Wisconsin.
Diesel. I have Bama BYU there, and I have BYU. I have BYU defeating Alabama in the Sweet 16.
Is that because you're high on BYU or because you're a little low on Bama, Mark Sears, and things not
I think
playing out well the last couple
BYU's
games?
I think their offense is as good as any offense in the country.
Really?
And maybe Evan Miyakawa at 520 will tell me I'm an idiot.
They get that Big 12 money and look at them go, man.
I think they've got as good as an offense as anyone.
Wow.
So give me BYU over Bama.
So let's stick in that bracket right there. Let's change up the format from the last time. I've got Duke over Alabama advancing to the Final Four. You have Duke BYU? No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't. He's got BYU knocking off.
Look at that right there.
Cooper Flag and Duke.
Look at that.
Can you believe it, Tolos?
BYU defeats Duke in the round of 8, the Elite 8, to knock their or to give themselves a chance at the national championship.
I know you've been changing your bracket a lot. Is that one of the ones that you changed, or have you been with that?
No, I had Duke when I filled it out Sunday night. I had Duke winning in the whole thing.
Really?
I had Duke winning the whole thing. However, all kidding aside, this is the biggest round. Sweet. I can't even get it out. I'm so excited about it. Elite 8.
Whew.
BYU defeats Duke in the Elite 8.
So you have a big time upset, BYU making it to the Final Four in the East.
Yeah.
I've got the big time upset of Louisville making it to the Final Four in their quadrant. How about that?
Here we go.
And down to the Midwest, Houston versus Clemson. I've got the run for Brad Brownell coming to an end. I don't know that they can. It's going to be a stretch, I think, to beat Purdue, but I think they get it done. And I think that's when they hit that buzzsaw of the Houston Cougars.
I have them, unfortunately, as Kane pointed out on Twitter earlier when I posted my bracket, I have Houston beating Clemson. I do.
So back-to-back years of Sweet 16.
Houston's good, man. There's no shame in losing to Houston. One of the best teams in the country.
Kentucky, Tennessee. A border war.
I went back and forth.
That's who I've got. I've got Kentucky versus Tennessee, and I've got Tennessee knocking off Kentucky. I think they're just a little more complete this year.
Same thing. I have Tennessee, Kentucky, and I have Tennessee knocking off Kentucky. I really do. That's our Sweet 16.
And then who do you have out of Houston, Tennessee getting to the Final Four? Houston
beating Tennessee.
I've got Tennessee.
Do you really?
Advancing.
That'd be a great game, by the way.
Final Four is Louisville, Florida, Duke, Tennessee, an 8, 2 1 seeds, and a 2 seed. And on the right side of the bracket, I've got Duke beating Tennessee. I think Cooper Flagg back to full strength by that point. So my national championship game is Florida-Duke.
And who wins?
Florida.
I can't wait, man.
For Cooper Flagg.
I cannot
Sorry,
wait.
bro.
I
Come
love
back to
March
college
Madness.
another year. Try again.
I love March Madness. Thursday and Friday show is going to be so fun, Tolos. Make sure you're tuned in. The game's on, listening to us. This is all we're going to do. Diesel, you know I have Auburn, Florida on the left side. Mm-hmm. On the right side, Final Four, I have Auburn, Florida, BYU, Houston. So I have, as I said in the last segment, Florida defeating Auburn to go to the national championship. I have BYU defeating Houston, and the magic goes all the way to the national championship. My national championship is Florida versus BYU, and Florida wins.
Wow, the magic of Brigham Young takes them all the way to the national championship game.
But it ends there. It ends there.
Oh.
You and I, how about that? Through all of that, have
Did you
the
call
same
that a close game? BYU, Florida?
10 points.
10?
10 points. Yeah, I've got Florida winning the whole thing. You and I both do. Again, everybody does. Florida's really, really good. They're really good, man. And Diesel, Florida BYU is my national championship. And then, like I said, Thursday you'll be able to go because my bracket will be busted. But if you Tolos aren't in our ESPN bracket challenge yet, you better join. This is going to be fun, man. I cannot wait. So there you go, Tolos. There is our bracket reveal. Diesel and I both have the Gators cutting down the nets. Let's change it up a little bit in the very next segment and update you, Tolos, on what's happening in midweek baseball for Clemson and South Carolina. That's next. Diesel, you know how sometimes you have thoughts in your head, you have predictions, you have feelings toward a certain coach or a team or a program, and you just don't really know if it's worth putting it out there or not yet because it's early in the baseball season.
You don't want to get your heart broken.
Right, but it can also be the reverse. It can also be negative feelings. And I'm not going to expound on this in this one segment because I might save it for tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. But I'll just say this. Is it still early in the season? Yes. Am I overreacting a little bit? Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know that South Carolina made the right hire in baseball.
Ouch.
I don't know that they did. And again, maybe you say, Cole, it's freaking March, dude. Let it play out. Excuse me. But, man, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling. South Carolina and Clemson both in midweek games tonight, starting with the Gamecocks, a neutral game, neutral site, air quotes for those not watching. South Carolina playing at Segra Park. They are playing College of Charleston tonight. That game between South Carolina and College of Charleston starts at 6:30. The Gamecocks trying to bounce back after losing 2 of 3 to Oklahoma. Shouldn't be much problem, but Diesel, you look ahead, and we'll talk more about this. This is kind of one of those midweek games that you don't really think matters, but boy, does it matter because you want to get a win before you go on the road to number 3 Arkansas.
Yeah, look, the Gamecocks are 1-5 against, power competition.
Yeah.
0-3 against Clemson, 1-2 against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Their bats came alive, put up 11 runs in the second game of that Oklahoma series, and the third one came down to extra innings. So I'm not so quick to throw out the hook and pull Palmineri back from the stage. Look, I think you're going against a top 15 team in Oklahoma. You lost the first game, competitive game, by 3 runs, 5-8. You won the second game by putting up a lot of runs, and you were in it in the third one, and you ultimately didn't win it. Now, good teams, the better team, will win those close ball games and ultimately take the series. But I think South Carolina was close enough against Oklahoma in that third game, the rubber match.
Had their chances, Diesel.
I'm not so fast to throw all Paul.
Well,
out
I'm
with
glad
bathwater.
because I'm not leaning in the good direction. Hopefully, I'm wrong. South Carolina 16-5, 1-2 in the conference again tonight. College of Charleston going up against South Carolina, and then as far as Clemson goes, they are in a 2-game series tonight and tomorrow night at home in Tigertown. Clemson hosting the Citadel, 6 o'clock start both nights. Clemson's had a really good season. They took 2 of 3 from Notre Dame over the weekend, 19-2 overall, 2-1 in the ACC. Citadel, not a bad baseball team. They were really bad last year. They've gotten better. Got a new coach, right? And, we'll see. I think Clemson takes both. But, again, kind of similar situation here. Clemson trying just to get some get-right games because they also have a massive series this weekend.
Imagine being a Citadel coach and knowing that you can't go to the transfer portal. You can't go pull a guy who started college ball at North Carolina and say, hey, come join the military academy so you can play baseball here at the Citadel, right? That's a tough ask for any coach to do. So, the standards at Citadel have to be a little bit different. Clemson, I feel like should have probably swept Notre Dame. They didn't sweep Notre Dame. They were down big. I watched part of that game on Sunday. They were down big to Notre Dame. Now, they got the bats alive in the 8th and the 9th innings, and they tried to make it a little bit interesting, but Clemson's too good to lose games to Notre Dame. Ultimately got the series win, and that's what matters. I think they're going to be fine against the Citadel, and they'll get it back on track before they head into their weekend series.
Going against first-year head coach in Russell Triplett, who was hired back in June for the Bulldogs. Let's go to the phone lines. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. You can also text the Hub City Spartanburgers text line at the same number. JD wants to weigh in on the phone lines. What's up, JD?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, gentlemen.
Yep.
First of all, I don't know if it's quick enough to say that Palmineri wasn't the right hire. I will say that.
What do you mean quick enough? Like I'm speaking too quick, you think?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. What
Yeah.
I will say, though, is Paul Maneri did say something very interesting the other day. He said, in the SEC, you're going to win 10, you're going to lose 10, and what happens in those other 10 is really going to determine how your season goes.
Sure.
Obviously, the Gamecocks are 0-1 already, and, those other 10 that he mentioned, I honestly, I projected us to only get 10 SEC wins this year. I think give Maneri at least a year to get some more portal players, some more high school players in. Kingston left the cupboard so bare, in my opinion. It'll take a couple of years. But I said this. There's no chance that this team makes it to Omaha this year. I don't care what any Gamecock fan out there wants to say. There's no chance that this is going to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Now, maybe they improve throughout the year.
Maybe.
But I'm willing to give Maneri another year, maybe 2 at least. But I think they pulled the trigger too quick firing Holbrook, to be honest, who's now the coach at College of Charleston.
I'm with you on giving him a year. I have a bad feeling, and I hope I'm wrong for his sake. I love the guy. He's awesome, but I hope I'm wrong, JD.
I hope you are too, but, I mean, you're more right than you are wrong, I guess, Cole.
No,
Y'all
not
have
me.
a good one. Be blessed.
See you, buddy. No, JD, always appreciate the phone call.
Is it too far to say that South Carolina's ceiling is probably just making a regional this year?
Oh, no, their goal
if you
is
just
to
make a regional.
Yeah, if you get in first year under Paul Maneri, you look, I don't know that they make the postseason. I don't know.
By the way, for what it's worth, Chad Holbrook 12-5 already on the season at College of Charleston.
The problem is their schedule's just brutal. We'll see, though, man. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
When we come back, Cole, it is time for you and I to test our knowledge. Well, you are going to be testing my
I'm putting
knowledge.
you to the test.
I'm pretty good at this when it comes to like FCS football
This
teams,
is gonna be
but
fun.
basketball,
This is gonna be
God,
fun.
I struggle with mascots. The NCAA Tournament Mascot Challenge Part 1. I'm either going to look brilliant or stupid. That's next. really well for me or really badly for me. Either way, you Tolos get to laugh at me and how little I know about NCAA March Madness team mascots. Again, I feel like I do really well in movie quotes and FCS team mascots in football. But basketball is hard because there's a lot of teams that never, ever, ever show up anywhere in football that are really good in basketball. They make their way into the NCAA tournament. So here we go, Cole. The NCAA tournament mascot challenge, part 1, left side of the bracket.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you because I have a wonderful website that I just found on ESPN.com.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Sage and Dave, who put it together, Diesel, the entire bracket with the conference, the mascot, the school colors, and notable alumni. I mean, this is awesome. This is the best thing ever. So I've got every mascot right here. I don't even need this. I'm gonna use this for marking good and bad, but I'm not going to go left side because this is fantastic. I don't have to fact check you and Google every single one.
So we're only going mascots, right?
Only mascots, yeah.
If I get a mascot wrong, can I save myself by getting the conference right?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to help me much. I genuinely don't.
I think conferences will be a lot easier than you think. And then here's what
I
we'll
don't know. Do I know what conference Lipscomb is in? No, I don't.
Let's do this. Tomorrow, you will reverse roles. You'll quiz me on locations. See if I can
what state they're in?
Yeah, because it lists that as well. I don't know if I'll be good at that, but we'll try. So let's start.
You're looking at the cheat sheet right now.
Oh, I won't remember it. I won't remember it in 10 minutes from now. Let's start at the very top.
Can we get a little game show music?
Yes, we can get some game show music. And again, Diesel is one of the best in terms of.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you're one of the best. I've never met anybody that knows all of the mascots like you do.
I don't know about that.
What's your name?
You're really putting a lot of faith in me.
Hey, while I get game show music, let's go to Tom in Somerville.
Tom in Somerville. Number 1, Tom, how well do you think I'm going to do? Grade me A through F on the mascots in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, you'll do fine. You'll probably be B+, A- territory.
Out of 64, you're saying I'm going to get at least what, 50, 55?
Oh yeah, you know your mascots, Diesel.
I don't know.
He's confident.
I don't know.
Hey, the D1 aspect is the easiest part because we hear these teams so much. I mean, hey, pull one out of a hat, quiz me.
But we only hear them. We only hear them once a year.
I'm gonna pull one out of the hat for old Tom in Somerville. Ready, Tom?
I'm ready.
Here, I'm going to take my headset off. I'm going to turn this all the way down so I can't hear Tom's answer.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you talking, but I can't hear Tom at all. My volume's all the way down.
Number 16 seed Tom, Norfolk State.
Norfolk State. They're not the Vikings. I know that for a fact. Let's see. Give me a second. I got it.
Don't be Googling it, Tom.
I'm driving.
Has he given the answer yet? Tom, come on, man. I'm on the stream looking like an idiot with my headphones off.
Michigan
you could be saying anything about me right now.
Spartans. There you go.
Well, now you just gave away the answer, Cole. When we come back around to him. Now I know the answer.
Well, you know what? I'll give you a gimme. there. Tom, thanks for the call, man. Hey.
I got one question.
All right, go ahead.
One question. So, did y'all see that the Carolina spring game's not going to be on TV?
Yes.
Like, what in the world are we doing?
Tom, you live 10 miles from the stadium. What are you griping about?
I'm in Somerville 6 days a week, so it's just an inconvenience.
Well,
okay?
we're sorry to inconvenience you, Tom.
I know it's the spring game. Put it on TV. I don't want to watch a 30-minute documentary. I want to watch football.
Football. Tom, thanks for the call.
Thanks,
we got to
Tom.
run, man. All right, Diesel, we're going to start with the 1 seeds.
Let's do it. By the way, we have a bell and a buzzer sound effect.
I've got it right here.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's start with the easy ones here. I'm going to mark them as we go. The Duke,
Blue Devils.
Yep, that was easy, right? All right, Alabama.
Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I mean, of course, right? Like, some of these are stupid easy as you're guessing the mascots, but you should be able to get most of these. Alabama, they're the 1 seed, right? No, number 2 seed. I'm trying to find Bama on my bracket here. Here they are. All right, so you're 2-0 to start. Let's go Wisconsin.
Badgers.
You're 3-0, obviously. That one's easy. Arizona.
Wildcats.
Arizona, you got that one. What was the last one you said before that?
Wisconsin. Wisconsin
right?
Badgers.
Wisconsin, okay, you're 4-0. Congratulations, Diesel.
Doing
These
hot.
are the easy
Hot
ones,
start.
though. It's easy. These are easy. The Oregon, God.
Ducks.
Oregon Ducks, you got that one. You're 5-0. BYU.
Cougars.
BYU Cougars, you're right, and you're now 6-0.
I still think they should be the Stormin' Mormons, but whatever.
St. Mary's.
Oh, St. Mary's. Are they the Gales?
You would be correct.
Yes!
They are the Gales, yeah. St. Mary Gales, you're right. So you're off to a good start. You are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-0. We go to Starkville, Mississippi, the Mississippi State.
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
There's like 20 Bulldogs in this tournament.
I know, really. You can just
I can
guess
just guess.
Bulldogs, every one of them, and you probably get half of them right. Mississippi State, where are those? Oh, there they are. Okay, so check mark there. You're doing well. This one's easy. The Baylor.
Bears.
Yep. Check mark there. Vanderbilt.
Commodores.
Yep. You're making this look easy because these are the ones that everybody knows, right?
Well, I like to start off easy.
VCU.
Rams.
Wow, that was quick. That was really quick. Like you. Okay, I'm impressed. This one's easy. The Liberty.
They are the Flames.
Yep, that one's easy. This one's easy as well. The Akron.
Zips.
Yep, you're right, Akron Zips. Let me find them on my bracket here.
Zips.
There they are. They're playing Arizona. So far you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-0. Off to a hot start.
I remember the Akron Zips has to do with like the rubber industry in Akron. And I think
the
Zips,
rubber industry?
I think Zips was like a colloquial term for tires.
Wow.
Back in the day, I think. And their mascot is a kangaroo.
That is interesting. So
doesn't make any sense, but it is.
I will tell you, you right now are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you say the P word. Perfect. Yeah.
I was in know where we're going. But it's gonna get more.
Please don't put that on a promo.
That already is. It's gonna get more difficult.
Okay, that's okay.
Here we go. 14 seed, Montana
Grizzlies.
Oh my gosh, you're too good at this. You're way too
FCS
good.
powerhouse in football.
Yeah, really good. All right,
always wanted to go there. Love their football stadium.
Well, you should go. Montana Grizzlies.
Just go.
We talked about this one in the first segment of the second segment of the show. Robert Morris.
Colonials?
Yes. Their mascot, his name is Romo.
Romo?
Yeah, like Tony Romo.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my quarterback.
Yeah. Tony.
Are they really the Colonials?
Yeah.
No way. I feel like that's one of those ones you don't try to learn. It just seeps its way into your head, right? It's like a song lyric. You didn't try to learn it. It just is.
Let's see. Let me make sure I'm going through here. Congratulations. One more in the, what region is this? This is the East region. One more. The final one, 16 seed Mount St. Mary's.
Oh.
St. Mary's, they are 26, 28, and 5 on the season.
Mount St. Mary's? Oh, God.
Yeah, but people call them St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Bulldogs? I don't know.
I told you to guess Bulldogs whenever you don't know, right?
Yeah. And, St. Mary's.
Mountaineers.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, never in a million years would I have guessed that. I thought there were only 2 Mountaineers. West Virginia and App State. Not in the tournament.
You know what? Yeah, Mount St. Mary's is different than St. Mary's because you already got St. Mary's.
Oh, okay.
So Mount St. Mary's is who Americans play in the play-in game.
They're not even in the tournament.
Oh, they're the play-in game
tonight. That doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
That's only half a point deduction.
All right, so in the East region, you went 15-1.
All right.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's good. Let's go to the...
Shouldn't there have been 17
Let me see.
teams?
You went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 1.
Okay, 15-1.
And now we go to the Midwest region.
Okay.
Tolos, if you just tuned in, Diesel is doing his best at the Mascot Challenge, and so far he's 15-1, off to a really good start.
Crushing it.
Yeah, really
Crushing
good start.
it. Hide your moms, because
All
I'm
right.
coming with this knowledge.
In the Midwest, this one's easy again. We're going to start with the high seeds. Houston.
Cougars.
Yeah, that one's easy. That's too easy. Everybody knows Houston. Next, Tennessee.
Vols.
Yeah, easy. Right. All right, next we go to Lexington, Kentucky.
Wildcats.
Yep, Wildcats is correct. The Purdue.
Boilermakers. Great drink, too. You drop a shot of whiskey into a beer and you chug.
Boilermakers is correct. You're never going to guess this one. Clemson.
Tigers.
Yep, you got that one right.
Tigers.
That was a tough one. That was a really, really tough one. The Illinois.
Fighting Illini.
Yep, easy. UCLA, easy again.
Bruins.
Yep. UCLA.
Wish I was at home brewing some beer right now. That'd be good.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga are the Bulldogs.
Gonzaga. Bulldogs is correct. Let's see. We go from Gonzaga
I think there should
to
be like a congressional movement or like a law bill passed to make all these teams that are Bulldogs pick a new mascot. Because we got too many Bulldogs.
How many Bulldogs do you think are in the tournament?
I'm going to guess probably at least 6.
I was going to say 5.
You got Gonzaga, Mississippi State, Yale are the Bulldogs. There's probably 2 or 3 more of them.
The next one, Georgia.
Bulldogs.
There you go. Yeah, right. So 2 Bulldogs in a row there. Good job. Utah State, the 10 seed.
Utah State are the Aggies.
You would be correct. Utah State Aggies.
That's where Colin Kaepernick went to school, right? He went to Utah State.
I'm not sure.
I'm
Jordan.
pretty sure.
Now, I know Jordan Love went there. Packers quarterback. Really good.
Really?
Yep. I don't know about Colin Kaepernick, though. Up next, the 11 seed, Texas Longhorns.
He went to University of Nevada, Reno. Texas. You just said Texas Longhorns.
Well, yeah, I did.
There's only 2 things that come from Texas: Cole, steers, and Longhorns.
I gave it away on that. And I'm glad I gave it away because you would have never guessed. I mean, maybe. Xavier.
Bulldogs. Right?
Hold on, let me make sure.
Xavier.
They're
the Bulldogs, right?
Yeah, I think so. This says something on this ESPN website that I'm not.
Are they not the Bulldogs?
So here's what's interesting. Xavier,
Oh, don't take this away from me on a technicality.
No. I thought they were the Bulldogs. ESPN says they're the Musketeers.
No, they are the. No!
But I was thinking they were the Bulldogs as well, Diesel. Who are we thinking of?
Maybe we're both thinking of like Drake or Butler or something like that.
You had me convinced that they were the Bulldogs.
Man. No, you're right. They are the Musketeers.
Oh,
Dang
man.
it. Success is inevitable.
So you
Messages
missed
on the stream says Xavier is not a Bulldog.
You had me convinced. You really did.
It was,
I
it
was
was the
I was
confidence.
questioning ESPN.
I came with so much confidence.
I know you did. You did. All right. Clemson's opponent, the McNeese.
They're the Cowboys, right?
Should have been a cow. Yes, you're right. McNeese, Cowboys. You got that one right. And High Point up in North Carolina. They are the.
Oh God, High Point. Oh, I don't know this.
Are you struggling with this?
I'm
one?
struggling with High Point. I think it's a cat. I don't think it's not a Catamount. I don't know they don't have the same mascot as Western Carolina, but it's some kind of a cat. I'm going to just guess and say Wildcats.
You're going to guess Wildcats, and you are going to guess wrong. Panthers.
I knew it was a cat.
You know it was a cat.
I knew it was a cat.
You did. You got 2 wrong in this. What are we?
I know all about
Midwest. Yeah, Midwest. You got 2 wrong, but still doing really well.
I knew it was a cat.
Still doing really well. Couple more for you. This one's easy. The next few, you're gonna knock these out. Troy.
Trojans.
Yep. Troy. Everybody knows the Troy Trojans.
They used
right?
to be Troy State.
You'll
Now
never
they're just
guess
Troy.
this one. The Wofford
Terriers.
Yep. Notable alumni from Wofford. Can you name any notable alumni?
Jerry Richardson.
Yes. Craig Melvin.
Who is Craig Melvin?
You don't know who Craig Melvin?
I've never heard the name Craig Melvin.
He's now on the Today Show.
I don't watch the Today Show.
Well, he used to be just a regular, I don't want to say a regular newscaster, but
People with two first names freak me out.
Craig Melvin is really awesome, man. He was actually presented an award a couple of weeks ago in New York. Wofford went up there when he just started on the Today Show just a couple of months ago. He's always been with NBC and MSNBC, so Craig Melvin's awesome.
Interesting.
He is a notable alumni for the Terriers. Congratulations on that one. That one was easy on the Mascot Challenge. The very last one before we run to a break and talk to Evan Miyakawa. We're going to do the second half, by the way, at the 6 o'clock segment. Last one for you. The SIU Edwardsville.
Oh, man. SIU Edwardsville?
Think about this one before you think about this.
I think you broke. SIU are the Salukis, but this is SIU Edwardsville.
Correct. In Edwardsville, by the way.
In Edwardsville. So I assume this is not the same school as just regular old SIU. Oh, man.
This one's in Edwardsville, Illinois.
Oh.
Notable alumni, The Big Show, since you're such a wrestling fan.
I don't know this one. I don't even know.
The Cougars.
Oh.
The Cougars.
I was going to say Panthers, but just as a sheer guess.
1, 2, 3, 4 wrong. So you went 15, and then after 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 4. Not bad.
29 and 4.
Not bad. I'll double-check that math here in the break, but that's not bad at all. So you did the East and Midwest region and went 29 and 4. That's impressive. I would have not have done that well. That is really good. Hats off to you. Diesel Mascot Challenge. He did pretty well. 29 and 4 on the right side of the bracket. We will do the left side of the bracket at 6 o'clock.
Texters, come on. Texter says the High Point Wood Turners, the High Point Furniture Makers.
Yeah.
Both of those incorrect. And then a texter says, I come with a lot of confidence, too.
Y'all are terrible.
Man.
Absolutely terrible. But you know who's not terrible? Evan Miyakawa. EvanMia.com. Boy, you want to talk about getting ready for the tournament. Evan Miyakawa will do that. He'll get you ready. He joins the show next. In today's edition of Why Cole is an Idiot, we bring in Evan Miyakawa of evanmiya.com. That's not a weekly or a daily segment yet. Some people may say it should be or could be. But Evan, I want to start off this interview with, by the way, first of all, thanking you for taking the time to join us right here on the Fan Upstate. But I want to start this off with you telling me why I'm an idiot when we revealed our brackets earlier today, and I have a dark horse, a sleeper, in BYU making it to the national championship, losing to the Florida Gators. Why is Cole an idiot?
Well, if I put it in the most scientific terms possible, BYU's chances of making the national title game are under 1%.
Woo!
So that'll be a little tough.
Well, you know what? They don't make this thing easy for a reason. I mean, I don't know. Somebody has to pick a dark horse, Evan.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, this bracket is shaping out to be fairly chalky when we're talking about Final Four teams. There's really a group of teams. All of the one seeds, Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston, have really solidified themselves as the best four teams in the sport. You can throw Alabama in there as well, but they're stuck in Duke's region, which is tough. So I really do think that we're going to see a lot of the best teams in this tournament make the Final Four. Now, I do think the first round or two, we could see some upsets in the 4, 13, 5, 12, 6, 11 games. But in terms of picking Final Four teams, I think this year probably is not going to be anywhere near as outrageous as we saw a couple years ago when we had, Florida Atlantic and San Diego State in the Final Four. So, we'll see how it plays out.
Evan, it's Diesel here. My bracket isn't super chalky, but if you blow on it real hard, you might see some dust fly out of a couple places. I have Michigan, UConn, BYU, opposite of Cole here, Gonzaga and Illinois, all making first-round exits to lower seed teams. In your experience, what's the right number of upsets people should be looking to pick in the first round? Not specific matchups, but generally speaking, how many do we have?
That's a good question. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think once you really start getting to the 5-12 matchups, the 6-11s, the 7-10s, we on average get at least one of those upsets a year. That's really cool. And then 3-14, I don't think we've seen an upset from the 14 line in a long time, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really where your bread is buttered. And in this tournament specifically, I do really think that some of these 5-12 and 6-11 games are ripe for upsets. I think UC San Diego is one of the strongest true mid-majors we've seen in the tournament, and I think they match up really well with Michigan and have a great chance of winning that game. I think that VCU is actually one of the strongest teams kind of in the field regardless of where they're seated. That's a really tough draw for BYU. My model has that game pretty much as a coin flip. I think Colorado State actually right now as a 12 seed is favored to beat Memphis, who is also missing one of their best players in Tyrese Hunter. So I do think there are a lot of matchups like this. You can look at Drake versus Missouri. There's some good, really juicy matchups there. And depending on who wins some of these play-in games too, like North Carolina tonight, if they beat San Diego State, I think they might be close to favored, if not close to a pick'em game with Ole Miss in that 6-11 game in the South region. So there's a lot of first-round excitement for sure.
We're joined by Evan Miyakawa. Tolos, do us a favor. Go give him a follow on Twitter, on X, at Evan Miya. That's EVANMIYA. College Basketball Analytics does a fantastic job. You can check out his website at evanmiya.com. For those who haven't done that and checked your website out yet, Evan, or maybe someone who has seen it but not since March Madness began, what is there to offer now? What do you suggest our audience, our Tolos, check out on your website when making their March Madness selections if they have not done so already?
I've got a couple suggestions. One is something I've already mentioned, which is these tournament probabilities. So using the team ratings on my website, I have simulated the tournament 10,000 times to see every team's probability of advancing to each round. I really use it as kind of a gut check for me as I'm filling out my bracket to say, like, hey, I'm picking this team to the Sweet 16, but what are actually their chances of getting there? And it helps me kind of, not stray too far off the course, if you will. Another thing, too, that's really a kind of a fun way to generate a little bit of randomness as you're trying to decide what matchups to pick is I have all these bracket simulations on my website. You can click run simulation and see, using all of these actual win probabilities for each possible game, it'll simulate how the bracket will play out. So it's not picking what the most likely result is. It's picking a way this could actually play out. So I just simulated one right now. and Houston's winning the title game. That's not a huge shock, but they're beating Louisville. So Louisville ends up getting to the Final Four in this one. And so that's kind of a fun thing. If you want to dig more into the weeds and you're really trying to evaluate all of these individual matchups, I have a matchup preview tool on my site for people who have a subscription, and it basically allows you to get a matchup preview, a full game-by-game breakdown with score predictions, with team comparisons for any hypothetical matchup. So even if the matchup hasn't been determined yet, let's say you're looking at a Houston versus Tennessee Elite Eight matchup. You can plug both those teams in. You can see what the predicted scores will be, win probabilities, injury adjustments, a team comparison, roster breakdown, and a bunch of good stuff like that.
Evan, that seems like a fantastic tool. What investment level is that available for on your website? Because I know that you do offer a free tier once somebody can sign up, but to be able to access that kind of information, what do they have to? How much skin do they have to put in the game?
So I have a basic tier and a premium tier. The basic tier is $5 a month. The premium is $30. But I have a March special, which a lot of people use. It's 25% off the premium for just 1 month. So you can sign up for it and get all of the goodies, which are honestly the most beneficial right now. And you can get that, and it's a one-time payment. You're not signing up for a recurring thing or anything like that. It's a very popular way that people can access all these tools as they're filling out their bracket and then tracking with the tournament as it's going on.
Evan Miyakawa joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. I want to bring it here local to us. Wofford Terriers, just up the road from us, about 25 minutes away. You've got them listed as underseeded out of 15. Why do you say that? And as thin as the odds may be, and I get it, they are thin, what's a case that you could make for Wofford to give Tennessee a little bit of a shock?
So I do this analysis every year where basically I'm looking at using every team's team rating on my website, which is predicting how good that team is going to be going forward in the tournament. I compare that to their seed, and I can identify teams that are a lot better than typical for their seed. Wofford is one of these teams. Now, obviously, as a 15 seed, they're still not one of the better teams in the tournament, but they are slightly stronger than you typically see for a team on the 15 seed line. And these teams that are underseeded, there's about 12 of them this year. Historically, they advance about 60% further or win 60% more games in the tournament than other teams on their seed. Now, as a 15 seed, it is a very tall task to beat a 2. It almost never happens. But if I'm picking one of these matchups, I think Wofford, I'm not saying they have a great chance of beating Tennessee. Tennessee is one of the best teams in the country. Yeah. But of the 2 seeds that they could be playing, I think Alabama is probably better. I think St. John's would be a tougher matchup. So I think Tennessee is one of these teams where, Tennessee is a great defensive team. They've been that for years. They have a lot of veterans on this team. They guard really well. Their offense can be very stop and start. And a lot of their early season success revolved around Chaz Lanier as a three-point shooter, kind of filling the Dalton Connect role that he had last year. But Lanier has been a little bit more inconsistent in the second half of the year. And sometimes Tennessee just gets in these games where it's really slow, it's really plodding, there's not a lot of scoring. And so in that case, there's a bit of an opening there. So I think honestly what works in Wofford's favor is that Wofford's offense is a lot better than their defense. And so I think that Wofford's offense could actually be able to pose a little bit of a scoring threat. And maybe Tennessee just has an off shooting night and Wofford's defense is able to hold firm. So again, I'm not predicting that Wofford's going to win this game, but I do think that I give them about a 5% chance of winning this game according to my simulations there. So again, crazier things have happened.
Evan, it seems as if there is a large consensus of people who believe the Florida Gators will win the national championship. Diesel and I both have them as our national championship pick. Does it seem like, according to the analytics and what you can see and what you do on a daily basis, that Florida, in your mind and in the mind of the analytics, if that's a thing, is the overwhelming majority there as well, or the overwhelming favorite, if you will?
Absolutely not. I think Florida is by far one of the best 3 or 4 teams in this tournament. I give them about a 15% chance of winning the whole thing, but I do not think that they are the best team in this tournament. I think it's arguable they have been the best team in the country over the last month or so. They've been really, really good. But you have to take a lot of factors into account here. And this team has overachieved relative to the expectations for this group coming into the season. They weren't a top 10 team in the preseason. They've really, outperformed expectations. They've certainly proven themselves to be one of the best in the country. But you look at a team like Duke on the other side of this bracket. Duke is the most talented team in the country. They arguably have the best player in the country. I also think Duke's road to a national title is a lot easier. I think the West region that Florida is in is the toughest region. A potential Elite Eight matchup with St. John's could be really, really tricky. A Sweet 16 matchup against Maryland. I think Maryland is one of the strongest 4 or 5 seeds that we have in the tournament field. Texas Tech is also a potential team that they could play in the Elite Eight. Texas Tech has been kind of a borderline top 10 team recently. So I think Florida's path, they can certainly do it, but I think it's a little bit harder. They might potentially have to go through like St. John's and then Auburn and Duke to win the whole thing. That's pretty tough. So I think Duke is and should be the favorite to win this. But after that, I'm comfortable picking Florida there.
Evan, the last time we had you on, you were extremely bullish on Clemson's 5-man rotation. Unfortunately, one of those 5 men, Dylan Hunter, is out with a broken hand. Yesterday, we brought on a Clemson writer who stressed just how much Dylan Hunter means to this team's flow, even though he isn't a big-time scorer for the Tigers. Can you quantify that statement in some way?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big, big loss for Clemson. When you look at what Clemson has done well and the time of year they've done well, it really started from that Duke game, that win at home, when they inserted Dylan Hunter into the starting lineup, and they have been really, really clicking and playing elite basketball ever since. And Dylan Hunter just really provides something different and new for this team that they didn't have when he was coming off the bench earlier in the season. So now that he's not available, they've really lost the juice that propelled them to this point. Now, I still think Clemson is a good team, and I do think that sometimes injuries can be a little bit overreacted to. I don't think anyone would list Dylan Hunter as Clemson's most important player or second or third necessarily, but I do think in terms of just chemistry, that starting lineup that Clemson had has been arguably the best performing starting 5 in the entire country when Dylan Hunter was in that lineup, and so that's no longer an option. So for me, that's a big damper on Clemson's chances. Now, do I think that massively changes their outlook in the tournament? No, because ultimately this tournament comes down to just a couple games. A few things can go right or wrong, and it makes all the difference there. But I certainly think it really hurts this team, and for me, it does knock them down just a peg in terms of maybe what their high-end potential is.
Tolos, if you have a question for Evan, you can text the Hub City Spartanburgers text line at 844-326-3663. Evan, we talked about this yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on this. When it comes to the 1 seeds, you just kind of hinted at this a few minutes ago, but which 1 seed do you think has the easiest path to a national championship?
Yeah, I do think it is Duke. I think that there's not a particularly scary second-round matchup against Baylor and Mississippi State. You go down on the bottom right of the bracket, Houston, who is also a great team, might have to match up against Gonzaga in the second round. Gonzaga is a top 10 team according to the predictive metrics. So Duke doesn't have anything like that. I'm not particularly scared by Arizona or Oregon in the Sweet 16. Bama would obviously be a big-time matchup in the Elite Eight, but I honestly think that Duke should not really have any issues getting there. And especially if Cooper Flagg is still kind of recovering from this ankle, the news out of that camp is that he's going to try and play that first game. I don't think they need him to play that first game. I honestly don't think Duke needs him to play their second game. And so if he's fully healthy by the Sweet 16, I do think Duke has the easiest path. I think Florida probably has the hardest path. And for Houston, I like Houston to come out of the Midwest. I honestly think their toughest game to a Final Four could be a potential second-round matchup against Gonzaga, because Gonzaga is a much, much stronger team than their 8 seed indicates.
Find him on Twitter at Evan Mia. Make sure you give him a follow and let him know that you heard him on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. During the football season, we bring on your counterpart, Kelly Ford, who does something very similar to what you do, but with football analytics. And every time we bring him on, we ask him about the graphics that he posts on social media and how funny it is and amusing it is to him that people grossly misunderstand what it is he's trying to say with some of his graphics and some of his information. And he always says, we have a lot of people who fire back at me when they don't really understand what the graphic is. Can you give us an example or two of something like that happens on your Twitter page, at Evan Mia, where you post just raw data, raw information? People get mad at you because they're not really understanding what it's saying.
Man, the number of naysayers that come out of the woodwork, specifically this week, when they haven't been keeping track of this all season, is hilarious to me. And I pretty much respond to almost none of them. because the people who have been tracking it for the most of the season actually understand what's going on, and they're great to engage with. I think the main thing that really bothers people is when they're a fan of a team. Memphis is the classic example of this year. Memphis had a great record. They had some big wins against good teams, and they've looked really tough at times. They are fairly deserving of that 5 seed that they got. But in terms of their predictive metrics, and what I mean by that is all the things that go into my model predicting not just what are your wins and losses, but how good are you going to be going forward. They don't understand that when I rank Memphis as barely a top 40 team in the country, they're saying, how can that be possible? Memphis, has like a top 20 resume in the sport. Look at all these wins. And we're just not talking about the same thing, because wins and losses only tell you so much about how good a team is and how good they're going to be going forward. What the predictive metrics look at is they're looking at, okay, based on every single game, did you outperform expectations against the team that you're playing based on what the score was compared to what we thought about those teams going in? And so if you're constantly winning close games against teams that aren't very good, yeah, you're continuing to win. But at the end of the day, that probably means you're going to lose when you play better teams. And so I think that's the biggest gripe that people have, because they see a lot of the stuff that I do. It's all predictive in nature. It's predicting who are the best players, who are the best teams, who are the best lineups. And then they kind of argue like they basically think it's my opinion ultimately that I'm just putting a list of rankings together. And ultimately, no, it's saying this is what my statistical model that I've worked for years on is suggesting is going to happen going forward. You can disagree with that if you want, but I am not at all ranking just what your body of work has been.
Hey, Evan, before we let you run, I want to get your live reaction to a tweet that Pete Thamel sent out during this interview saying that Indiana is targeting West Virginia coach Darian DeVries to be the next coach. Sources tell him and Jeff Brazello. Obviously, Indiana and Brad Brownell were linked to each other, but it looks like Indiana wants to go after the West Virginia basketball coach. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's a smart hire. And I think in this day and age, what really matters is being able to get coaches who have consistently shown that they can get a team to perform better than the sum of their parts. And we've seen that with Darren DeVries 2 years in a row. Last year at Drake, he had a team that was, not very talented, and they were really, really good and almost made the tournament. And then this year at West Virginia, they had to overcome so much adversity. They lost their best player early in the season. They deserved to be in this tournament. I don't know how on earth West Virginia got left out of this tournament. And he's consistently shown that, hey, you give him a roster and he's going to get it to perform even better than you expect based on the sum of that talent. I think that's a great move, because I think that, sometimes going for the big name, the cachet name, it just doesn't really mean as much in this name, image, and likeness era, because what really matters in recruiting is just the amount of money you have. And that may or may not, change depending on the coach. You just need the coach to get results. And so I really like that. I like this move. Obviously, Darren DeVries doesn't have like a long, high major track record or anything. But at this point, like, these are some of the best guys, the guys who have the most promising potential. So I'm in favor of it.
Evan, quick facetious question here. We early in the show, we got to the audio of the West Virginia governor going after Bubba Cunningham being the head of the selection committee. What are the odds that he is successful in his push and ultimately ends up changing the system so that little guys like West Virginia don't get screwed by the blue bloods like North Carolina?
This is all just political posturing. I mean, what are we doing here? No, it would be hilarious if this made it to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court is having to decide the process that used to pick college basketball teams into a tournament. But no, I don't think anything's going to come of that. I really think this is just trying to take advantage of an opportunity to get some attention. I mean, I do think that they have a point in that it's really, really hard to understand how the committee didn't get West Virginia in this tournament based on everything that we understand about the criteria that goes into selecting this bracket. But the thing that you have to remember is that West Virginia could have gone in this tournament and then lost their first game, and no one would remember. In 2 weeks, we're going to hardly remember which teams should have got in or gotten out, because we're just going to have 4 teams left at the end of the day, and it's not really going to make that big of a difference. So to me, not a huge deal.
Evan, we appreciate you, man. Great work, and we are going to continue to push our Tolos to check your work out. Thanks so much, and have fun this March.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's the best week of the year, so let's enjoy it.
Evan Miyakawa, evanmiya.com. Always a fun job, or does a fantastic job. Always a fun time and interview, Diesel. That was really, really good stuff.
Daily Wires coming your way next. We're going to have to go lightning round on our Daily Wires. This is the buzz happening around the sports world. Apple TV has confirmed season 4 of Ted Lasso is in the works. Jason Sudeikis will return. He said in a press release, quote, in season 4, the folks at AFC Richmond learn to leap before they look, discovering that wherever they land, it's exactly where they're meant to be. So it's such a happy thing to say. The rest of the cast has not yet been announced, but you got to assume that a majority of the main cast will come back. Steelers defensive captain Cameron Hayward says he is not going to great lengths to recruit Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh. His podcast host asked him if he'd go on a darkness retreat with Aaron to recruit him. He said, quote, "I ain't doing that. Either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. It's that simple." That's the pitch.
I like
if you
it.
want me to
I
recruit,
like it.
that's the recruiting pitch. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to be a part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin off my back. Actor and comedian Tracy Morgan got food poisoning while at Madison Square Garden. He vomited courtside during Monday's Heat-Knicks games, or excuse me, that was Tuesday's Heat-Knicks game. He posted a smiling photo from his hospital bed on Instagram to let people know that he's doing okay. It was Monday's game.
I'd hate to have
Today
to.
is Tuesday.
I hate to have to throw up and then go to the hospital. Good Lord.
He's also a man in his probably, late 50s? And if you're just throwing up randomly, it could be a problem. So Shohei Ohtani admitted that he was nervous after the Dodgers' opening day game against the Cubs in the Tokyo Dome. No need to be nervous, though, because he played quite well. 2 hits, scored twice. One of his outs was a line drive that came off the bat at 96 miles an hour.
Pretty fast.
He got a hold of that one, as they say. Cole, this one's funny. The LA Sparks are holding tryouts for male practice players, a practice that is fairly standard in women's basketball. You want your women, your lady players to get better and better. You have them play against male competition.
Yeah.
But Sparks rookie Cameron Brink says that she is icked out by the idea of blocking out male practice players during rebounds. She says, "Coach is going to yell at me, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to block out male players."
You know, that's interesting because, like, South Carolina women's basketball, they practice against men, right?
Yeah.
During the week and during the season. I have not heard anyone be disgusted by that, but it is interesting.
Well, she's disgusted by it because the LA Sparks put out the, for lack of a better word, casting call for tryouts on social media. And the comments have been lewd, to put it lightly. She said, she quoted a couple of the comments saying that commenters were saying, "Please let Cameron Brink back me down," or something about Rakia or something about Kelsey, other players on the LA Sparks team. She said, quote, "Who are we trusting coming into this gym?" So
wow, how about that?
She's basing her ickiness on the comments that she's actually reading from people who probably are not going to go out there and play.
Also, this just came across my phone a couple of minutes ago from ESPN.com. People love what was it? The name of the hockey between USA and Canada?
The Four Nations.
Four Nations.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have discussed NHL KHL games. President Trump supported President Putin's idea to organize hockey games between the U.S. and Russia during their phone call on Tuesday. According to the Russian government, Trump and Putin discussed hockey matches in the USA and Russia between Russian and American players playing in the NHL and KHL, which is Russia's professional hockey league. Let's see. "We have just become aware of the conversation between Trump and Putin," the NHL said in a statement to ESPN. "Obviously, we were not a party to those discussions, and it would be inappropriate for us to comment at this time, but they have played exhibition games in the past, and reports are indicating that it would be that they would be in favor of that." So,
hey,
little hockey.
Based purely on competition, Russian players are fantastic at hockey.
Yep.
So, taking all the political stuff out of it, just NHL versus KHL players, I think you're probably going to see some really good hockey. I don't know enough about the KHL to
I
know
don't either.
if it is an extremely high-level league.
I bet Americans would like it, though.
Yeah, maybe. Or if,
challenge.
like, all the best players from Russia end up coming to the NHL anyway.
Yeah.
So how would they do that? It could be compelling.
Could be interesting for sure.
It's like Rocky 3?
Yeah.
Is it what Rocky 3? No, it was Rocky 4, I think, where he fought Ivan Drago.
Coming up next, Diesel did a very good job. He went 29-4 in the right half of the NCAA Tournament Mascot Challenge, Part 2. Coming your way next. Can he replicate 29-4?
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. We'll find out next. Well, here we go, Tolos. It is time to see if Diesel can continue to guess the mascots correctly. He has completed the right side of the bracket. He went 29-4, which is not bad at all. You got 4 wrong. Let's see which ones you got wrong. Let's
You
go
could
back
probably
and
ask
look.
me those again, and I'd still get them wrong.
Mount St. Mary's. That one's easy now because think of the name.
Oh, the Mountaineers.
Mountaineers, yeah. You also got wrong.
I think that's one of those schools I'd never heard of before this year.
SIU Edwardsville, you got wrong.
They were the Panthers?
They were. SIU Edwards, I already forgot. Let me see.
See,
I don't think they were. I don't think they were the SIU Edwardsville. I was thinking Cougars. Cougars. All right, you also got
Hot women in their 40s.
Yep, High Point and Xavier.
High Point were the Panthers.
Yeah. Xavier we thought were the
Musketeers. Yeah, they were the Musketeers.
Oh, that's not bad, though. Hey, you did pretty good.
That's not bad.
No, a lot better. And Tolos, just so you know, this website also has the locations, notable alumni. Tomorrow, Diesel, myself, and Melissa Level of Ingles Markets, if she is going to be there tomorrow, we'll see how good we are at locations. This will be fun. I don't know that I'll be good at this. Like, the number one, the high seeds, I think I'll be okay at Diesel, but in terms of getting to some of the lower seeds, might struggle. I might struggle. Do you think you can replicate 29-4 in the left side of the bracket?
I think I will do one better. So 30-3. I'm going 30-3.
Well, here's the game show, music, and that means we've got to get this thing started. Tolos, you can participate, help Diesel out. He won't cheat, but if you think you know and he's starting to struggle, you can text the show at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. We're also live. You can watch the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 112 Tolos in the stream right now. The Power Hour, hour number 4, the final hour of the show coming right at you. As we put Diesel to the test, NCAA Tournament Mascot Challenge begins now. We begin in the South Region. Diesel, as you know, you found out in the very last segment, or the 5 o'clock segment, it's easy at first, but then it gets a little bit more difficult. He is trying to go 30-3. It is Auburn
Tigers.
Yep,
or
easy.
War Eagle.
Yeah, nobody knows. They have 2 mascots. You're right. They are the
I should
Auburn
get extra
Tigers.
credit for that.
God, everybody knows that. Next, Michigan State.
Spartans.
Yeah, if you get any of these, easy ones wrong, I might just end the game.
-2.
Michigan State Spartans. Are we sure they made the tournament? Oh, yeah, they're there. Okay. All right. Couldn't find them. Iowa State, very easy.
Cyclones.
Iowa State Cyclones, correct on that. That's one of my sleeper teams, by the way. I don't know how far you had them going in the bracket.
I had Iowa State getting to the round of 32, but losing to Ole Miss.
I have them in the Elite 8. The Elite 8, man, I have Iowa State making a little bit of a run. So I'm high on the, you said Cyclones, right? You did. I'm high on the Cyclones. I really am. So thus far, you are 3-0. Very easy ones. Softballs I'm throwing at you. Auburn, Iowa State, and Michigan State. It continues on the easy path, Diesel, with Texas A&M.
Aggies.
Yeah. Real difficult. Michigan, let's knock these easy ones out.
Wolverines.
Actually, no, they just changed theirs today. You're wrong. I'm kidding. Ole Miss.
Running Rebels.
Rebels. Not running.
Are they not the running
No. Can I count down against you? Yes, let me count it against you, please.
Oh, come
Let
on.
me count it against you, baby.
No.
Yeah,
Why did I
yeah.
say that?
You're getting an X.
Oh.
You're getting an X on that one. You know who you were thinking of?
I was thinking of UNLV.
UNLV.
God.
UNLV?
No, I was thinking they're also a team that's confused about their mascot because on the field they have a bear.
Oh, yeah, think about that.
They're like man in a
Good
plush
point.
costume as a bear.
Good point.
Doesn't make any sense.
You did make me look, though. When you said, I said, wait a minute, let me look to make sure. And
God, dang
there's
it.
your one.
That's a technicality.
No more.
That's
more.
a technicality. I said
love
the
it.
right answer.
I love it. All right. I think
Buckle
down. Buckle down. Focus. Marquette.
Marquette are the Golden Eagles.
Correct. Correcto, senor. Marquette, where are they at? There they are. Marquette, Golden Eagles. You got that one right.
Marquette down. I got that right.
Mark it down. Notable alumni, Chris Farley. That's pretty notable, right?
Didn't he go to Marquette in Tommy Boy? I think he was just graduating from Marquette. It took him like 8 years to graduate from Marquette.
And one more, Dwayne Wade.
Really?
How about that?
Okay.
That's pretty big notable
if
alumni,
it was
right?
2024, he wouldn't have graduated from Marquette. He would have transferred somewhere else.
Oh, and by the way, it is official. Indiana has hired Darian DeVries. Bam.
Wow.
Just
1
like
year
that.
at West Virginia.
And
And
they
he's
got
out
their
the
next
door.
head coach. Breaking news, Indiana.
Well, now you can't sue and get him into the tournament.
And Brad Brownell gets
Staying
he's
in
staying in Tiger Town, right? All right, you got Marquette. That was good. Good job there. This one's easy. The Louisville
Cardinals.
Yep.
Cardinals with teeth.
Cardinals.
Look at the mascot. Logo.
Yep. Notable alumni: Diane Sawyer, Tom Jackson. Don't know who either one of them are. But
Diane Sawyer was a newscaster for years and years.
Okay. Pretty notable then.
Like one of the 4-letter big networks.
Oh,
like
pretty big.
NBC, CBS, whatever.
Okay. The Creighton
Blue Jays.
Yeah, Creighton. Let's see where they are on this bracket. I don't know if they made the tournament either. Maybe. Yeah, they did. Okay. They wouldn't be on the website. They are in, I'm not going to look because we're doing that tomorrow. Kyle Korver, the NBA player, known for shooting three-pointers and not playing defense, is one of the notable alumni from Creighton. I know you know this one because we talked about it before as we continue the mascot challenge. New Mexico.
New Mexico are the Lobos.
Correct. You're right. Good job on that one. San Diego State.
San Diego State are the Aztecs.
Correct. By the way, they're playing North Carolina tonight. Do you happen to know what North Carolina's mascot? I mean, is there any way you can take a shot in the dark here? North Carolina.
Academic fraudsters.
Yes, you're correct. That is updated on the ESPN website. For some reason, we've brought this up in the last month because this sounds familiar, but UC San Diego.
They are the Trident.
Yeah. Tritons. Dang it. Tritons.
Tritons. I said Trident.
You did. I said yeah because I thought I heard Tritons, and I said, oh,
No.
wait a minute. You went to like the chewing gum.
Yeah. Is that an X?
That's an egg.
Crap.
Yep.
Crap.
But that's only two. Only two. You just can't lose two more, and you're good.
I knew it was a 3-pronged something.
We're going to go to the Ivy League, which you know this one, the Yale
Bulldogs.
Yep. Bulldogs. There's another Bulldog. We'll see how many total Bulldogs. I did not know this one. But Diesel, I think you will. The Lipscomb
Bison.
Yep. That's good. That's impressive. Pretty quick, too, right?
They've made it in before.
Yeah. All right. Bryant.
Bulldogs.
Another Bulldog. Another one. And then 2 more 16 seeds in this region. Man, this one's tough. St. Francis.
St. Francis. I'm gonna guess and say they're like the Friars. St. Francis Friars. That makes sense.
The Red Flash.
No way would I've ever gotten a Red Flash.
That is tough.
St. Francis Red Flash.
That is tough, man.
Ugh.
That is tough.
Ugh.
Does St. Francis even, do they even have a mascot? Can they even afford a mascot? St. Francis, okay. Got that one wrong.
They can only afford a name, no mascots.
Nah, that's right. One more. This one's tough, too, man. I feel bad for you. Alabama State. Don't guess yet. I'm going to give you a hint if you don't know it.
State. I think they are. I think they're the Hornets.
Oh!
Yeah!
Wow!
Boom!
Wow, how'd you get that? How did you get
know
that?
of them.
You wrote it on the ceiling tile up there you were looking at.
I know of them from FCS football.
Wow.
I know they're black and gold. I know their logo is like an A and a script S
That's
over top
impressive.
of it. I was torn between. See, the thing is, like, you would think color scheme it would be the Yellow Jackets, but it's not the Yellow Jackets, the Hornets.
Notable alumni. Alabama State. This one's funny, man.
Isn't it fascinating how some state schools are gigantic and other state schools are tiny? Like
Yep.
South Carolina State, Alabama State,
Yeah.
tiny schools. Mississippi State, North Carolina State, Michigan State, all huge.
Diesel, do you know who Miles Parks McCollum, otherwise known as Lil Yachty? Do you know who Lil Yachty is? He's an American rapper.
Oh, okay. I was going to say children's show host.
Nope. He is a very famous
Are
American
you
rapper.
sure it's Yachty or is it Lil Yachty?
It's spelled Yachty, but you might be. It's spelled Y-A-C-H-T-Y, but it might be Yachty. I don't know. I don't listen
That's
to
how
rap.
I spell yacht.
I don't know. I have no idea. But he's a notable alumni. So, all right.
I got to go perfect in the other
South
bracket.
region, you got 1, 2, 3 wrong.
I said I was going to get 3
That's
wrong.
right.
I got to go. I got to go perfect down the stretch.
This is going to be
Whoa.
tough, man.
Oh, and it's
The
all because of
pressure's
stupid
on.
technicality on Ole
Yeah,
Miss.
the pressure's on, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Wire to Wire. If you just tuned in, Diesel feeling it. Do you want me to give you some fanning? I mean, the pressure's really
Some
getting
cold water.
Yeah, pour it all over you. It's going to get tough in this last one, but it's going to start easy in the West region. The Florida
Gators.
Not running Gators, but Gators.
No.
That was. You're not going to be able to sleep tonight. You are not going to be able to sleep.
I fired it off
You
so
did?
fast without thinking.
Diesel, the St. John's.
St. John's are the Red Storm.
Correct. And you and I both pretty high on St. John's.
Yeah, I've got St. John's making the Elite Eight
I
and
did
losing
too.
to Florida.
Yeah, me too. Same thing. They got a tough draw. Think about this. As good as St. John's is, Diesel, I don't like their draw. They could potentially face Drake or Texas Tech, Arkansas, Florida. I mean, it's a tough draw, man. I don't know if anybody got
Kansas.
tougher. Yeah, it's tough. They got a really tough draw there. But congratulations, you are 2-0 in the West region.
Forrest Lowry says, what Diesel said. Do you mean, are you talking about Lil Yachty? Forrest, help us out. What
Maybe
Diesel
so.
said.
Let us know.
We need the context.
Sorry for
Raul.
not knowing, Forrest.
Yeah.
I'll do better with my rappers. Texas Tech, that's easy.
Red Raiders.
Texas Tech Red Raiders. Congratulations on that one as I lean over and mark it off my list. The Maryland
Terrapins.
Last I checked, they are. Memphis
Tigers.
Memphis Tigers. You got that one right.
Who Evan Miyakawa is not high on because they lost a big-time player, which I didn't know about.
You can still
before
change it.
Well, can I? I don't
Yeah.
know that I can.
He can't lock. He didn't think he locked in yet.
I mean, I didn't have Memphis getting farther than beating Maryland.
Kansas State. Oh, Kansas State. Sorry. Kansas State's not in the tournament. Maybe they are. Kansas.
Jayhawks.
Okay, let me try better. Kansas Jayhawks. Yes, you are correct.
If anybody
there.
wonders what we're doing, we are testing my knowledge on NCAA tournament team mascots.
Well, some good game show.
I went 29-4 on the right side of the bracket,
Yeah.
and
You've lost 3 on the
I've
left
gotten
side.
3 wrong on the left side of the bracket. One of them, me being stupid, quickly said running Rebels to Ole Miss, and I'm so mad that I said that.
Here's the deal, though. I'm looking at the rest. I think you can go perfect here.
Really?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
so. You just said Kansas, right?
Yep. Jayhawks.
Did I mark that off? Yeah. UConn. That one's easy.
Huskies.
UConn Huskies. Yep. They are the 8th seed. Notable alumni, obviously, Ray Allen, Rebecca Lobo,
Okay.
Diana Taurasi. Come on. Sue Bird, Dan Orlovsky. I mean, UConn's got some notable.
I didn't know Dan Orlovsky went to UConn.
Yeah, how about that? 9 seed, Oklahoma. Very easy.
Sooners.
Good job.
Boomer.
Soon, yep. Arkansas.
Razorbacks.
John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Tyson Chickens.
Yeah, the Fighting Tyson Chicken Nuggets. I like that. Okay. Another, let's see, Colorado State.
Colorado State are the Rams.
That's correct.
Green and gold.
Drake
are also the Bulldogs.
Bingo. You did good there. No trip up. I like it.
That's got to be 7 or so Bulldogs.
We got to count the Bulldogs in this.
Yeah.
All right. Diesel, the pressure's on. Because you've got a chance to do what you said and go 30-3. But
Tell you what, if you want to add some pressure to this, let's hold this one and get the other ones. If you think I'm going to get them, to make this the last one.
Okay.
If you think I'm going to struggle.
Yeah, I'm with you. So there's 1, 2, 3.
If you think I'm going to struggle.
Okay, so here's the deal. Let me set the table. There are 4 left.
Uh-oh.
And the 4 that are left are tough.
Uh-oh.
They're tough.
Okay.
Now, they're tough to me. I think you know them.
Okay.
But I will give you a hint on one of them.
I'll let you just dealer's choice.
That's fine.
Play this how you want.
Diesel, I asked Tom in Somerville about Norfolk State earlier, and he got
Spartans.
it right. Bam, quick! Look at that.
I only know them because they knocked App State out of the tournament.
Did they really?
Out of a first 4 matchup a couple of years ago.
All right, so that leaves 3.
And they're like green and gold also, but it's like a really effeminate green and gold.
These 3 are tough to me though. They might not be tough to you. Let's go Grand Canyon.
Oh my God, Grand Canyon.
I think you know this though. I do
Canyon.
think you know this. So don't rush this one. I really do. I thought at one point you might have said this back maybe months ago.
Oh, this is the hardest one in the thing.
Grand Canyon.
Oh, I know that they've got a weird mascot.
It is
weird.
weird.
It's not a normal mascot.
No, not at all. Let me before you guess, I want to look something up.
Oh my God, Grand Canyon.
I want to know what this is because I don't even know what it is. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Diesel, this one's tough. I feel bad for you.
Doesn't it start with an L?
Yes, it does start with an L. It does. The next letter, if you can get it, Diesel, you'll get it. Yes.
Are they the Lobos?
Lopes.
No!
No! Lopes.
God.
Oh
God.
my goodness.
For some reason, I thought there were like 2 Lobos in this thing.
Who was the other Lobos?
New Mexico?
Yeah. That one's tough. Now 2 more.
God,
2 more.
Lopes.
But you still.
That's not fair. That's not even a word.
It really doesn't feel like one.
That's not a word.
You can still tie.
Okay.
Which is very impressive. 29. 2 more. This one's local, and you'll know this one because it's in the Sun Belt. UNC Wilmington.
They're not in the Sun Belt, but they are the Seahawks.
Well, the ESPN article's wrong.
They're not in the Sun Belt. They are
idiots.
They're not even in the SoCon. They are.
No, they're not SoCon.
Are they in the Colonial?
That sounds right.
I think they're in the Colonial. Which didn't Brad Brownell come to Clemson from UNC Wilmington?
They are in the Colonial, correct. ESPN
I should
article.
get a point back for that.
You should. The ESPN article who wrote this, Diesel, they have them in the Sun Belt, which means people make mistakes. Notable alumni, John Calipari.
Really?
Wow.
No guff, Chet.
One more. Final one. You got UNC Wilmington, right? That was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Omaha. This one, yeah, this one's tough. I will say.
Omaha.
Now, the mascot itself, it's a very well-known, popular mascot. However, here's the deal, though, on this one. 1, 2, 3.
Omaha.
You still got a chance to tie. I don't know if we can phone a friend on this one, but I don't want you to lose your record.
Tolos, first one to text in.
Yeah, first
one. Tell me the guess the mascot, and I will guess whether that texter is right or wrong about
don't
the
Google
Omaha
it, texters.
mascot.
Don't just give us your best guess.
You can give me a guess, and I will tell you if I think it's right or wrong.
Do you have any idea?
I don't.
I would not either.
I don't have a freaking clue.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do.
They could be Omaha College for all I know.
They could. And what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to narrow it down from millions of choices to 30 choices.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not the Luka.
But before you answer, think.
Oh, I get what he's trying to say. The Mavericks?
Bam. Look at Forrest. Clutch, Forrest. Clutch.
Yes.
Clutch.
You're my man.
Clutch.
Me and you. We're going to hang out together.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, again, 29 and 4.
I'm so mad at the freaking Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, you're never going to pull.
Why did I say that?
You are never going to pull for Ole Miss again in your life.
God, stupid Lane Kiffin.
You're going to pull against them from now on because of that. That's great, man.
I want to throw my headset and walk out. I want to open up the window and jump out the window.
But do you realize how impressive it is to go 58 and, 8? That's impressive. It's really 58.
Should have been 59 and 7.
I know, but 58 and 8 really. I'm proud of you. That was good. Good stuff.
We'll do this again when the FCS playoffs come around, Cole, with the 24, 28-ish teams that make the FCS playoffs. We'll do it again.
I like it. That was really fun, though.
Thank you, Forrest.
Good
Thank
job,
you for
Forrest.
the assist.
Clutch, man. Forrest is clutch. Diesel, on the other side, we are going to
replay our interview from earlier in the show with Evan Miyakawa. Fantastic college basketball analyst. EvanMia.com is his website. All season long during football, you hear us talking to Kelly Ford. Evan Miyakawa is the Kelly Ford of college basketball. Just genius level IQ, and he will make you smarter. We'll play that interview for you next.
In today's edition of Why Cole is an Idiot, we bring in Evan Miyakawa of evanmiya.com. That's not a weekly or a daily segment yet. Some people may say it should be or could be. But Evan, I want to start off this interview with, by the way, first of all, thanking you for taking the time to join us right here on the Fan Upstate. But I want to start this off with you telling me why I'm an idiot when we revealed our brackets earlier today, and I have a dark horse, a sleeper, in BYU making it to the national championship, losing to the Florida Gators. Why is Cole an idiot?
Well, if I put it in the most scientific terms possible, BYU's chances of making the national title game are under 1%.
Woo!
So that'll be a little tough.
Well, you know what? They don't make this thing easy for a reason. I mean, I don't know. Somebody has to pick a dark horse, Evan.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, this bracket is shaping out to be fairly chalky when we're talking about Final Four teams. There's really a group of teams, all of the one seeds, Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston, have really solidified themselves as the best four teams in the sport. You can throw Alabama in there as well, but they're stuck in Duke's region, which is tough. So I really do think that we're going to see a lot of the best teams in this tournament make the Final Four. Now, I do think the first round or two, we could see some upsets in the 4-13, 5-12, 6-11 games. But in terms of picking Final Four teams, I think this year probably is not going to be anywhere near as outrageous as we saw a couple years ago when we had, Florida Atlantic and San Diego State in the Final Four. So, we'll see how it plays out.
Evan, it's Diesel here. My bracket isn't super chalky, but if you blow on it real hard, you might see some dust fly out of a couple places. I have Michigan, UConn, BYU, opposite of Cole here, Gonzaga and Illinois, all making first-round exits to lower seed teams. In your experience, what's the right number of upsets people should be looking to pick in the first round? Not specific matchups, but generally speaking, how many do we have?
That's a good question. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think once you really start getting to the 5-12 matchups, the 6-11s, the 7-10s, we on average get at least one of those upsets a year. That's really where you see a jump. The 4-13 is kind of middle, and then 3-14, I don't think we've seen an upset from the 14 line in a long time, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really where your bread is buttered. And in this tournament specifically, I do really think that some of these 5, 12, and 6-11 games are ripe for upsets. I think UC San Diego is one of the strongest true mid-majors we've seen in the tournament, and I think they match up really well with Michigan and have a great chance of winning that game. I think that VCU is actually one of the strongest teams kind of in the field, regardless of where they're seated. That's a really tough draw for BYU. My model has that game pretty much as a coin flip. I think Colorado State actually right now as a 12 seed is favored to beat Memphis, who is also missing one of their best players in Tyrese Hunter. So I do think there are a lot of matchups like this. You can look at Drake versus Missouri. There's some good, really juicy matchups there. And depending on who wins some of these play-in games too, like North Carolina tonight, if they beat San Diego State, I think they might be close to favored, if not close to a pick'em game with Ole Miss in that 6-11 game in the South region. So there's a lot of first-round excitement for sure.
We're joined by Evan Miyakawa. Tolos, do us a favor. Go give him a follow on Twitter, on X, at Evan Miya. That's EVANMIYA. College Basketball Analytics does a fantastic job. You can check out his website at evanmiya.com. For those who haven't done that and checked your website out yet, Evan, or maybe someone who has seen it but not since March Madness began, what is there to offer now? What do you suggest our audience, our Tolos, check out on your website when making their March Madness selections if they have not done so already?
I've got a couple suggestions. One is something I've already mentioned, which is these tournament probabilities. So using the team ratings on my website, I have simulated the tournament 10,000 times to see every team's probability of advancing to each round. I really use it as kind of a gut check for me as I'm filling out my bracket to say, like, hey, I'm picking this team to the Sweet 16, but what are actually their chances of getting there? And it helps me kind of, not stray too far off the course, if you will. Another thing, too, that's really a kind of a fun way to generate a little bit of randomness as you're trying to decide what matchups to pick is I have all these bracket simulations on my website. You can click Run Simulation and see, using all of these actual win probabilities for each possible game, it'll simulate how the bracket will play out. So it's not picking what the most likely result is. It's picking a way this could actually play out. So I just simulated one right now, and Houston's winning the title game. That's not a huge shock, but they're beating Louisville. So Louisville ends up getting to the Final Four in this one. And so that's kind of a fun thing. If you want to dig more into the weeds and you're really trying to evaluate all of these individual matchups, I have a matchup preview tool on my site for people who have a subscription, and it basically allows you to get a matchup preview, a full game-by-game breakdown with score predictions, with team comparisons for any hypothetical matchup. So even if the matchup hasn't been determined yet, let's say you're looking at a Houston versus Tennessee Elite Eight matchup. You can plug both those teams in. You can see what the predicted scores will be, win probabilities, injury adjustments, a team comparison, roster breakdown, and a bunch of good stuff like that.
Evan, that seems like a fantastic tool. What investment level is that available for on your website? Because I know that you do offer a free tier once somebody can sign up, but to be able to access that kind of information, what do they have to? How much skin do they have to put in the game?
So I have a basic tier and a premium tier. The basic tier is $5 a month. The premium is $30. But I have a March special, which a lot of people use. It's 25% off the premium for just 1 month. So you can sign up for it and get all of the goodies, which are honestly the most beneficial right now. And you can get that, and it's a one-time payment. You're not signing up for a recurring thing or anything like that. It's a very popular way that people can access all these tools as they're filling out their bracket and then tracking with the tournament as it's going on.
Evan Miyakawa joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. I want to bring it here local to us. Wofford Terriers, just up the road from us, about 25 minutes away. You've got them listed as underseeded out of 15. Why do you say that? And as thin as the odds may be, and I get it, they are thin, what's a case that you could make for Wofford to give Tennessee a little bit of a shock?
So I do this analysis every year where basically I'm looking at using every team's team rating on my website, which is predicting how good that team is going to be going forward in the tournament. I compare that to their seed, and I can identify teams that are a lot better than typical for their seed. Wofford is one of these teams. Now, obviously, as a 15 seed, they're still not one of the better teams in the tournament, but they are slightly stronger than you typically see for a team on the 15 seed line. And these teams that are underseeded, there's about 12 of them this year. Historically, they advance about 60% further or win 60% more games in the tournament than other teams on their seed. Now, as a 15 seed, it is a very tall task to beat a 2. It almost never happens. But if I'm picking one of these matchups, I think Wofford, I'm not saying they have a great chance of beating Tennessee. Tennessee is one of the best teams in the country. But of the 2 seeds that they could be playing, I think Alabama is probably better. I think St. John's would be a tougher matchup. So I think Tennessee is one of these teams where, Tennessee is a great defensive team. They've been that for years. They have a lot of veterans on this team. They guard really well. Their offense can be very stop and start. And a lot of their early season success revolved around Chaz Lanier as a three-point shooter, kind of filling the Dalton Connect role that he had last year. But Lanier has been a little bit more inconsistent in the second half of the year. And sometimes Tennessee just gets in these games where it's really slow, it's really plodding, there's not a lot of scoring. And so in that case, there's a bit of an opening there. So I think honestly what works in Wofford's favor is that Wofford's offense is a lot better than their defense. And so I think that Wofford's offense could actually be able to pose a little bit of a scoring threat. And maybe Tennessee just has an off shooting night and Wofford's defense is able to hold firm. So again, I'm not predicting that Wofford's going to win this game, but I do think that I give them about a 5% chance of winning this game according to my simulations there. So again, crazier things have happened.
Evan, it seems as if there is a large consensus of people who believe the Florida Gators will win the national championship. Diesel and I both have them as our national championship pick. Does it seem like, according to the analytics and what you can see and what you do on a daily basis, that Florida, in your mind and in the mind of the analytics, if that's a thing, is the overwhelming majority there as well, or the overwhelming favorite, if you will?
Absolutely not. I think Florida is by far one of the best 3 or 4 teams in this tournament. I give them about a 15% chance of winning the whole thing, but I do not think that they are the best team in this tournament. I think it's arguable they have been the best team in the country over the last month or so. They've been really, really good. But you have to take a lot of factors into account here. And this team has overachieved relative to the expectations for this group coming into the season. They weren't a top 10 team in the preseason. They've really, outperformed expectations. They've certainly proven themselves to be one of the best in the country. But you look at a team like Duke on the other side of this bracket. Duke is the most talented team in the country. They arguably have the best player in the country. I also think Duke's road to a national title is a lot easier. I think the West region that Florida is in is the toughest region. A potential Elite Eight matchup with St. John's could be really, really tricky. A Sweet 16 matchup against Maryland. I think Maryland is one of the strongest 4 or 5 seeds that we have in the tournament field. Texas Tech is also a potential team that they could play in the Elite Eight. Texas Tech has been kind of a borderline top 10 team recently. So I think Florida's path, they can certainly do it, but I think it's a little bit harder.
Tell me what's coming up.
They have to go through like St. John's and then Auburn and Duke to win the whole thing. That's pretty tough. So I think Duke is and should be the favorite to win this. But after that, I'm comfortable picking Florida there.
Evan, the last time we had you on, you were extremely bullish on Clemson's 5-man rotation. Unfortunately, one of those 5 men, Dylan Hunter, is out with a broken hand. Yesterday, we brought on a Clemson writer who stressed just how much Dylan Hunter means to this team's flow, even though he isn't a big-time scorer for the Tigers. Can you quantify that statement in some way?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big, big loss for Clemson. When you look at what Clemson has done well and the time of year they've done well, it really started from that Duke game, that win at home, when they inserted Dylan Hunter into the starting lineup, and they have been really, really clicking and playing elite basketball ever since. And Dylan Hunter just really provides something different and new for this team that they didn't have when he was coming off the bench earlier in the season. So now that he's not available, they've really lost the juice that propelled them to this point. Now, I still think Clemson is a good team, and I do think that sometimes injuries can be a little bit overreacted to. I don't think anyone would list Dylan Hunter as Clemson's most important player or second or third necessarily, but I do think in terms of just chemistry, that starting lineup that Clemson had has been arguably the best performing starting 5 in the entire country when Dylan Hunter was in that lineup, and so that's no longer an option. So for me, that's a big damper on Clemson's chances. Now, do I think that massively changes their outlook in the tournament? No, because ultimately this tournament comes down to just a couple games. A few things can go right or wrong, and it makes all the difference there. But I certainly think it really hurts this team, and for me, it does knock them down just a peg in terms of maybe what their high-end potential is.
Tolos, if you have a question for Evan, you can text the Hub City Spartanburgers text line at 844-326-3663. Evan, we talked about this yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on this. When it comes to the 1 seeds, you just kind of hinted at this a few minutes ago, but which 1 seed do you think has the easiest path to a national championship?
Yeah, I do think it is Duke. I think that there's not a particularly scary second-round matchup against Baylor and Mississippi State. You go down on the bottom right of the bracket, Houston, who is also a great team, might have to match up against Gonzaga in the second round. Gonzaga is a top 10 team according to the predictive metrics. So Duke doesn't have anything like that. I'm not particularly scared by Arizona or Oregon in the Sweet 16. Bama would obviously be a big-time matchup in the Elite Eight, but I honestly think that Duke should not really have any issues getting there. And especially if Cooper Flagg is still kind of recovering from this ankle, the news out of that camp is that he's going to try and play that first game. I don't think they need him to play that first game. I honestly don't think Duke needs him to play their second game. And so if he's fully healthy by the Sweet 16, I do think Duke has the easiest path. I think Florida probably has the hardest path. And for Houston, I like Houston to come out of the Midwest. I honestly think their toughest game to a Final Four could be a potential second-round matchup against Gonzaga, because Gonzaga is a much, much stronger team than their 8 seed indicates.
Find him on Twitter at Evan Mia. Make sure you give him a follow and let him know that you heard him on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. During the football season, we bring on your counterpart, Kelly Ford, who does something very similar to what you do, but with football analytics. And every time we bring him on, we ask him about the graphics that he posts on social media and how funny it is and amusing it is to him that people grossly misunderstand what it is he's trying to say with some of his graphics and some of his information. And he always says, we have a lot of people who fire back at me when they don't really understand what the graphic is. Can you give us an example or two of something like that happens on your Twitter page, at Evan Mia, where you post just raw data, raw information? People get mad at you because they're not really understanding what it's saying.
Man, the number of naysayers that come out of the woodwork, specifically this week when they haven't been keeping track of this all season, is hilarious to me. And I pretty much respond to almost none of them, because the people who have been tracking it for the most of the season actually understand what's going on, and they're great to engage with. I think the main thing that really bothers people is when they're a fan of a team. Memphis is the classic example of this year. Memphis had a great record. They had some big wins against good teams, and they've looked really tough at times. They are fairly deserving of that 5 seed that they got. But in terms of their predictive metrics, and what I mean by that is all the things that go into my model predicting not just what are your wins and losses, but how good are you going to be going forward. They don't understand that when I rank Memphis as barely a top 40 team in the country, they're saying, how can that be possible? Memphis, has like a top 20 resume in the sport. Look at all these wins. And we're just not talking about the same thing, because wins and losses only tell you so much about how good a team is and how good they're going to be going forward. What the predictive metrics look at is they're looking at, okay, based on every single game, did you outperform expectations against the team that you're playing based on what the score was compared to what we thought about those teams going in? And so if you're constantly winning close games against teams that aren't very good, yeah, you're continuing to win. But at the end of the day, that probably means you're going to lose when you play better teams. And so I think that's the biggest gripe that people have, because they see a lot of the stuff that I do. It's all predictive in nature. It's predicting who are the best players, who are the best teams, who are the best lineups. And then they kind of argue like they basically think it's my opinion ultimately that I'm just putting a list of rankings together. And ultimately, no, it's saying this is what my statistical model that I've worked for years on is suggesting is going to happen going forward. You can disagree with that if you want, but I am not at all ranking just what your body of work has been.
Hey, Evan. A little bit of breaking news as the Atlanta Braves have begun a reunion tour. What do I mean? What am I talking about? The Braves have signed Craig Kimbrell. Oh boy, you all remember Craig Kimbrell, right? Who was a longtime closer for the Atlanta Braves. Obviously got traded on the front side of this overhaul when the Braves started to overhaul the farm system and rebuild the franchise from top to bottom. Craig Kimbrell, who turns 37 years old in May, by the way, owns 440 career saves. That's the fifth most in MLB history. He set a Braves franchise record with 186 from 2010 to 2014. So, as you Braves fans remember, from 2010 to 2014, Craig Kimbrell was the best closer in baseball, without a doubt. So, obviously, turning 37 years old in May, not the same guy he once was, but we'll see. You're talking about one of the best, a potential borderline Hall of Fame pitcher and closer in Craig Kimbrell with 440 saves. Again, fifth most in MLB history. So that'll be interesting. He'll start in AAA and then work his way up from there. But I wanted to ask the question about North Carolina. We talked about this yesterday. Diesel, Evan Miyakawa brought this up, and I believe our guest yesterday, who we had on, Rod Baxley, the Fayetteville Observer, brought this up as well. When it comes to North Carolina, if they were to win tonight, do we really believe, because, look, it's March, crazy things happen in March. We've seen a lot crazier things happen in the past, right? But do we really believe that North Carolina has the ability, the talent, the wherewithal to go on a run if they were to win tonight and get themselves in the tournament? Do we believe that?
Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? Probably not. I mean, look, at this point, you are what your record says you are. And you certainly could get hot, right? I mean, it's North Carolina. It's not like they got a bunch of bums on the court. These are all highly recruited guys who just didn't pan out the way that they expected them to, the way that Hubert Davis and staff expected them to. So maybe, and crazier things have happened. You have a mediocre season, and all of a sudden, when you get to tournament time, when it really matters, these guys find another gear.
And it'd be interesting, like, for all the smoke, all the conversation, all the talk made about North Carolina getting in and West Virginia, being the team that should have gotten in the tournament, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be funny if North Carolina just goes on this run? I don't think it'll happen, like you said, Diesel. It might not be likely, but you never know. A couple of quick scoring updates for you. South Carolina leads the College of Charleston 1-0. KJ Scobie with a RBI single to get the Gamecocks out in front. St. Francis, PA, do you remember the mascot for St. Francis, PA, Diesel? St. Francis, PA, Alabama State underway in the play-in game. St. Francis, PA leads Alabama State 6-4. That game's on True TV. North Carolina versus San Diego State is tonight at 9:10. If you want to stay up and see if the North Carolina Tar Heels may advance.
Cole, have you heard about South Alabama being offered an NIT berth, but then having it rescinded from them?
No, I have not.
This is I'm kind of gathering information on exactly what happened here, but it seems as if the NIT extended an invitation to the Jaguars, as they also did to UC Riverside. Mm-hmm. UC Riverside had already accepted an invitation to the CBI. UC Riverside was able to get out of their CBI agreement and accept the NIT bid, which left South Alabama on the outside with a rescinded invitation. My guess is that the NIT probably over-invites. I think it's a 32-team tournament. Again, forgive me for not knowing everything about the NIT. They probably invite like 34, 35 teams, knowing that a few are going to say no. Sorry, we don't really want to accept this invitation. But this is a bad look on the NIT. The head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Richie Riley, took to social media and said, a meaningless apology to the most meaningful group of players I've ever coached. What they did to us last night is inexcusable. These guys in our locker room don't deserve this, and it's sad. Your idea of making it right is a copy and paste apology. So the NIT reached out to Richie Riley and the USA Jaguars players to apologize, but it was just a social media post. Looks like a PowerPoint slide.
That's not
good.
good.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, not really good, but you know what? It's the NIT. They'd probably, I don't want to say their reputation speaks for themselves, but it's the NIT. They're not the NCAA tournament. Does it surprise me? Not necessarily. Also want to let you know the Citadel holds a 2-1 lead over Clemson, the number 4 Clemson Tigers, in the bottom of the third inning. The Citadel plated 2 runs to take the lead from a Daniels bad throw. Daniels reached on a muffed throw by first baseman for the Clemson Tigers, and then Elliott for the Citadel single down the right field line to give the Citadel a 2-1 lead. It'll be interesting to see if the Citadel Bulldogs can hold on. It's going to be tough against that potent Clemson offense, but we shall see.
Tolos, we'll catch you on the show tomorrow. Talk more NCAA tournament and everything else you want to discuss right here on the Fan Upstate.